Hello everyone, I'm HearMeowt. Welcome to my channel. Well, it has officially been 1 year to the day of me going live and talking about true crime morons. And what better way to bookend the year than by reviewing a true idiot, Robert TELLES, or Teus, depending on what day it is. Now, if you don't remember who Robert TELLES is, he's a disgraced former Clark County public administrator who brutally murdered investigative journalist Jeff German in 2022 after German publicly exposed Robert's misconduct in his office, costing him a primary win that same year. TELLES brutally attacked German outside his home, then tried to cover it up with a series of sloppy, traceable moves that prosecutors later used to dismantle him in court. I think you could make a legitimate argument that he left behind more evidence of his guilt than Chandler Halderson. But his real claim to fame are the idiotic decisions he made to not only represent himself, but to center his entire defense on the theory of him being framed for murder as part of a large conspiracy involving almost everyone in the county, and then taking the stand to try and convince a jury of it. If you've never seen it before, you're in for a treat. We will be doing this in two parts. First, his direct narrative testimony, where he stumbles his way through the conspiracy with no evidence or facts, and barely challenges any of the prosecution's case. And then part two, where he is absolutely destroyed by the prosecution on cross-examination. Now, before we begin, for those who are just joining us for the first time, this is a commentary channel, meaning I will be pausing and talking at many points as we laugh and examine the biggest morons in true crime. Make sure to check out the many playlists in the description of this video of the different subjects we cover, such as Sarah Boone, Lauren Armstrong, Diane Downs, and all other idiots. Hello to everyone who's here in the live chat and to everyone on the replay crew. Make sure to leave your comments as I love reading through them. And don't forget to hit that like button or else we all know what's going to happen. And if you like what you're seeing here, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fun. At the time of this recording, we are approximately 11 subscribers away from 5,000. And I can't thank you all enough for this support, and I look forward to many laughs together in the future. All right, let's go. Hello, welcome everyone. Happy delayed Thanksgiving. Finally got out of bed. Finally am able to stream, but it's obviously later than I had hoped, particularly when I announced on Thursday that I was going to be streaming all day Black Friday. But anyway, yes, it is the actual anniversary. You know, I did a Black Friday last year, but you know, there's Thanksgiving changes the dates. So it was 11/29/24 when I did my first solo live stream on my own true crime topic. And many of you probably haven't seen it, but it was a disaster to say the least. I wasn't on camera yet. Dexter reset the computer right in the middle of it. I know Kit Kat Meow was there. I remember that. And I didn't have my presentation notes right, so you couldn't read it because it was the entire Excel screen. I was wanting to do a repeat of that yesterday or today to show how the show has changed. Plus, I have more footage to add to it, so it'll obviously be a much different experience. How many people attended? I don't know, like 2 at the same time. I don't know, maybe 3. But I had to wait, so I was sick. But be sure to look for that in the near future. So for Robert TELLES, not gonna lie, this is a painful direct testimony to watch. It's 2 hours, even with a lot of the sidebars sped up. So we should get started, but a little bit of the background to set the stage. The prosecution at this point has already presented a mountain of evidence. And if you want to go and look at the trial, I recommend it because it's a drastic contrast between their presentation and his presentation. Particularly, I watch, if you only watch one, Detective Jaffe, his testimony, because it is wildly, the way Robert builds him up, it sounds like he's some conspiracy, or I mean, it sounds like he's like the ringmaster, but he just looks like a normal detective, and he seems totally sane and nothing at all like what Robert presents. But the prosecution has presented a clear motive because Robert was a jackass who alienated everyone in his office, which he controlled. He was having an affair with one of the people in his office, and it's an elected position, so he was hyper focused on this company, on these companies taking equity away from survivors' benefits, which could or could not be true. But you know, he's really, really focused on it, and he thinks that is what caused them to orchestrate this murder to pin on him, so that his campaign would have to be given up. But regardless of that, they ran against him in the primary and he lost. So he was a lame duck, which further doesn't explain it being a conspiracy. And he blamed the journalist because the journalist wrote the 4 articles citing all this chaos that he was having in his office, and he blamed that, like, why he placed 3rd in the primary. He didn't even make it to the election. But they had Robert's DNA was found on the victim. The victim's DNA was found like underneath Robert's fingernails. The victim's DNA was found on the clothing that the killer wore. We know what the killer wore because photos were taken from, you know, surveillance cameras at other houses of this guy wearing this big sombrero and this robe. It was a ridiculous outfit. That clothes was found at Robert's house, hidden, cut up. The shoes and the hat were found with Robert's DNA in them and the victim's DNA on some of his clothing. There were Google Map images of the victim's house, like 100 of them or something, in Robert's phone. The victim's address and vehicle records were shown on his work computer, which he took a photo of, which was in his phone, in his own office. He had surveillance photos of cars near the victim's house that were on Robert's phone. He had no alibi. He had a cut on his finger, and it was a stabbing murder. But I laid that all out there because he's going to talk for the first 90 minutes here. He barely addresses any of the evidence. He barely even can construct his own conspiracy. He's bad at that. But just with all that evidence in mind that the jury has seen, tell me how ridiculous this testimony is. And the other thing I pointed out to Suma and Eric was him on the stand when he's sitting there like this a lot of the time. He reminds me of, I don't know if you have seen the movie Fargo, Jerry Lundegaard, when he's being questioned by the detective like this.
Specifically a Tancella Sierra.
Just getting owned by the prosecution. That's more in the prosecution, but he doesn't hear. And you'll see he's representing himself, but he's hired 2 lawyers as assistants of counsel. And he's totally disorganized as well. So when he keeps asking for this evidence, he'll say like, "Oh, should we do this?" And he doesn't understand the rules of evidence. And the reason he represented himself because the lawyers that were representing him weren't going to do any of this bullshit that he wanted to do because he can't. So he thinks he's the smartest person in the room. He's a narcissist. He uses the classic, "I couldn't be this dumb." And well, let's just go.
TELLES. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony
And it doesn't help that he looks like an alien.
you're about to give this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please.
I was also going to say the jowls, like his jowls that he's got, they're more pronounced here than before or after. You kind of remind me, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Jeepers Creepers, that creature that's in there, like he has some like very thick jowls. That's what his face reminds me of.
State and spell your first and last name for the record.
Robert Bayes. The first name is Robert. The last name is Telles.
Mr. Telles, the state is going to allow you, or the court is going to allow you to testify by way of narration. So please tell us. Begin with your story, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, first of all, and excuse me, I'm obviously a little nervous. This is it's a day I've been waiting for nearly 2 years. You know, this thing's been kind of a nightmare, frankly.
Kind of a nightmare. It should be the worst. I mean, even the start of this presentation is wrong. If his story is true, which he's trying to pretend it is, he should be saying this has been a complete. I have been set up. This is a total nightmare. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm innocent. All that kind of stuff. It shouldn't be like somewhat of a nightmare.
Again, I want to thank you for being here, and right now I want to say unequivocally, I'm innocent. I didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
Okay.
And I've got a lot to share with you all. There's been a lot of testimony, and my concern is making sure that your
concern should be being found not guilty.
You hear what I think about all these things, and what
Yeah.
would, the concerns that I have.
Already bad. It should not be a concern that you have about the case. We don't care about your opinion. We care about the facts. You need to present facts of what that support your extreme narrative that this is all conspiracy. We don't need to hear your opinion on the evidence that has been presented so far. Provide evidence that proves it wrong. Poke holes in the case. But the way he just says, like, that I have some real concerns about this case. Well, you should have many concerns. And beyond the level of concern, you should be angry that you've been charged with a crime you didn't commit. But his whole presentation here, he seems to be stuck in the mode of how he would present this in court about this company.
With some of these things that have been brought up. So during my testimony, I'm going to be sharing opinions. I know that, folks like Zach Schilling and Mr. Mogg shared their opinions with you.
No, they shared facts, observations, clear observations.
And these opinions were, almost, I guess you could say, argumentative in a sense, right? Basically,
they weren't argumentative, or else there would have been an objection to it. Just like they're going to object to your testimony when it's argumentative. I'm going to hit 2 super chats here real quick. Eminem and Emily, I'm on time, or $10. I'm on time. Helps that I'm visiting parents in Central Time, but now I'm going to fall to sleep and will listen properly tomorrow from my sewing machine. Hey, thanks, love you, bye. Bye. Thank you very much, Eminem Emily. Chicken Shite, $5. It won't let me swear on Super Chat, which is lame. I can't stand TELLES. I hope you roast the fish out of him. F this guy. Happy America, guys. Yep. Exactly.
Zach Schilling said, well, I'm an expert on shoes. And, I think that those shoes that the killer was wearing are the same ones that I've seen the Shay's wearing all the time.
No. There's a photo of your shoes in your own phone that exactly matched the photo of the killer's shoes.
Right. So he's arguing that he's an expert and you should believe him.
No, they're presenting the evidence and the jury decides what's fact. Joe the Poet, $5. The prosecutor is one of my faves, just behind Karen Reed's Kate Bite.
And I think the same goes for Mr. Mogg.
Thank you very much, Joe the Poet.
Right? So I think that when I share an opinion with you, someone might say it's argumentative. And when I say something, I guess I specifically mean the state. But I think that when I share an opinion with you, that's my right. And it's your right to decide whether or not you agree with my opinion or not, whether you want to adopt my opinion or not. So I'm just hoping that, I'm not stopped from sharing with you what I have to say.
So you're trying to plant the seed that somehow is going to be neutralized or the truth is going to be hidden from them. But I mean, none of this matters. With this presentation, nobody can understand what he's talking about.
And when I guess right off the bat, I'll share an opinion with you. The medical.
Yes, this guy was married. AJ Dead in the Water just asked, was this guy married? Yeah, he was married and he was having an affair with a person in the office.
Examiner testified about how Mr. Gurman was murdered. And, I had to see pictures of Mr. Gurman's body, in preparation for the case. And obviously it's ugly. But when the medical examiner testified, that's the first time I'd learned how Mr. Gurman was murdered.
Can you think of a dumber lie to say on the stand? You idiot. You want us to believe that you, in 2 years, haven't even found out how he was murdered? It was in the news. He was stabbed to death. You didn't bother looking through the evidence that was provided to you as discovered. You're acting as your own lawyer. You would have seen it. It would matter, like if he was shot, then you could say, hey, I don't own a gun, for instance. This is incredibly stupid.
Now,
and it does nothing to prove his innocence.
I think it's the way that he was murdered speaks to, I think, something or someone who knows what they're doing.
No. Not at all.
The idea that Mr. Gurman's throat was slashed and his heart was stabbed. I think that's, I mean, I don't know if anybody could just do that.
I'm pretty sure stabbings happen all the time. Now, Robert is going to try and make the argument that this had to be a trained assassin with combat training. People are stabbed and their throats are slashed all the time. Does he think serial killers have combat training? I mean, just not that only serial killers do it, but what are you talking about?
Right, without some kind of training, without some kind of expertise.
Plus, you cut your finger, Robert.
So, I mean, and I'm personally not combat trained. I've, and none of that. So it seems to me that when I heard that, I thought, my God, but
I hate how much he says, I know I say it often, right? But I don't think I say it as often as him. I say the word right a lot, but
so that's, I guess, one example of like the type of opinion I'll be sharing with you. And
you just shared it.
I want to also provide relevant facts, the truth, and things that I think are going to tend to disprove a lot of what has been said.
Spoiler alert: he doesn't provide any of that.
And also, when it comes to some of the witnesses, some of the documents that I'm going to try to get in are going to kind of go to whether or not they're being truthful. So again, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get those documents into. I guess we'll see how that goes as well.
Again, trying to set it up that he's being silenced.
First, I want to kind of go into my background a little bit. So, out of high school, I got a job at a small computer store, and building computers, that type of thing. And then I got an opportunity to work in IT, right? Information technology, working as a network technician. The .com crash occurred, and from there I ended up going into property management. And I enjoyed that. I became a leasing agent, then an assistant manager, then a manager. Then I took a strange turn and got into maintenance, fixing stuff inside apartments, that type of thing. And from there, started to get involved in air conditioners. So then I became an HVAC technician, an air conditioning technician. And it was all, self-study. Right? I took a course for the EPA certification, which is, the license that requires you.
By the way, the opening, his opening statement was done by his assistant attorney, right, or his assistants of counsel. They went through all this, and there's no need to lay it into foundation because who gives a shit? But he's going to say this somehow proves like how diligent and logical he is. Yet he's giving the worst direct testimonial presentation I think I've seen in a long time.
That you're required in order to handle like refrigerant, like Freon, those types of things. But I kind of learned like the basics of air conditioning on my own. And the only reason I say it is, like going along is like I've kind of developed this analytical mind, right? And so that led to me becoming an attorney. And so then that even built more on that analytical mind, where I think about, all the things, like all the things wrong in this case. And you add on top of that, the fact that I've been sitting in a cell for close to 2 years. So I've had a lot of time to think about a lot of these issues. So again,
did you have time to prepare your direct testimony? Because you're sucking at it.
I think I'm going to point out some strange things about this case.
Not strange things. Point out evidence. Strange things isn't going to set you free.
But anyway, going back to my background. So
we're going back to the background. Why?
Became an HVAC technician.
I started
working at the College of Southern Nevada. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to name check I was going to say local community college. Sorry, I'm very nervous. Excuse me. So I started working at CSN, managing a team, and I was doing that by day. And I went to law school at night. They have a part-time program at Boyd School, or they did then anyway. I don't know if they still have it, but I went through law school at night. But before I got into law school, I met my wife online. We started dating. I got into law school. We got married. We had our daughter together. So by this point, I had a stepson. I had my daughter from.
And this doesn't make him. Don't bring up your marriage. You cheated on your wife. You're just going to remind her that you lie.
Previous marriage, and then my wife.
That you're untrustworthy.
And I had our daughter together. When I got out of law.
Yeah, somebody said he's trying to humanize an alien. My thumbnail for tomorrow does. I was alternating back and forth between bald idiot or bald alien tries to prove his innocence. He gets roasted on cross.
School. I opened my own probate firm, or my own law firm, and I focused on probate law. Now, you heard this term earlier from Detective Jappy, probate, and also, of course, a couple of other witnesses. And, I do have a correction for, I guess, the way that Detective Jappy characterized probate law, but I'll get into that as we discuss further.
Get into it now. He's always doing this. Well, we'll get into that later. And the later never comes.
Compass Realty. So I want to go from here, from my probate work into how I became the public administrator. I was, again, a probate attorney, working cases for families. And John Cahill, the public administrator at the time, he saw me in court and, saw that I was, kind of a new face. And so he started giving me a couple of cases in there. He worked with various attorneys.
If this guy had one of those tent hoods or whatever, he'd be smelling his own farts the entire time. That's what this guy is. So super chats here. Polynomial purebred, $4.99. His body parts are mismatched. Are we sure he's not an Armstrong? Yeah, it could be. But he's had sex with women, so that doesn't line up. Chicken shite, $5. I said, my nipples in the mirror, and ex Derek didn't even show up. I'll
stick my finger in you.
He's not even here and he's interrupting. Joe the Pode, $5. His whole testimony needs a spoiler alert. He doesn't prove this. Yes. Or even mentioned it again. Thank you very much, Chicken Shite, Polynomial, Joe the Pode.
Throughout town. So I started doing some work for him. And I can't remember exactly how long I've been working for him. At least a few months, maybe 6 months. But I was part of this volunteer group. And we had these weekly meetings where we would bring people in to speak, right? And the group was very interested in learning about things happening in Vegas, right? So I thought, well, gosh, getting the Clark County Public Administrator in to speak would be really great because nobody knows what this guy does. When you hear the title Clark County Public Administrator, a lot of people think that we're talking about the guy who runs the whole county or something, right? I mean, that's oftentimes when I was in the office, I had these emails from people telling me to fix this on that side of town or this, that, whatever issue, right? So it's the public administrator, the probate administrator for the county. And again, it's basically the office that safeguards property until family can step in. Because again, when the coroner got there, the coroner couldn't find the family. So it's our job to do the safeguarding. And if for some reason the family can't or does not want to do the administration, our office takes over and does that administration. So, I got in there, hit the ground running.
Respectfully, this would be bad as a job interview even. I wouldn't want to hire this guy. Like, you are boring the shit out of me, Mr. Telles.
We're working. I find out at a certain point as I'm going to court that there's a situation with some of these private administrators. Now, a private administrator is when we talk about them is anybody who is handling administrations or really I'd say private corporate administrators, because any family member could be a private administrator, right? The probate commissioner, who is basically an appointee.
Hello, Suma. Hello, ex Derek. I mean, both of you said that you couldn't make it, but that's cool. Just kidding.
Of the probate judges, he had these concerns with some of these folks, right? And I was in a
And we're at 4,991 subs. We're 9 away from 5,000.
hearing one day where he asked me to take a look at a case, and the attorney for one of these guys or one of these firms was there, and we were talking, and he told me that that his client had been doing these things for so much time, and that the prior public administrator didn't have a concern with it. And I asked him, well, where are the I mean, this is the first I'm hearing about this. He said, well, we've been mailing your office notices every time that we come to court. And so, just FYI, the fact that these folks were.
Let me know if you guys want me to summarize what his entire point here is and why it's invalid at any point, because it's but we kind of, I don't want to spoil it. Let's see if he could do it on his own.
To send me notices was ordered by the probate commissioner because he was very troubled by what he saw going on with this firm. And so I told him, no, I've been at this for maybe 7-8 months, and this is the first time hearing of it. He said, oh, no, I promise we're sending you every notice. So I get to the office, and I find out that, at the direction of the prior public administrator, the office had been throwing away all of those documents, and they just basically continued on with that process of just throwing the documents away.
What's worse is he's working off of notes. He's not just winging it. I believe he's got bullet points in front of him. And
I told my staff, we're not doing that anymore. I need to look at these. I need to see why the probate commissioner was so concerned. So I did an analysis, and I found that there were some troubling concerns. I created a spreadsheet, and I guess at this point I want to see if I could share X2.
Okay, so he wants to introduce a spreadsheet that he made. This is his first piece of evidence. But what he's basically saying, just to clear it up for anyone who doesn't know, his office, okay, when somebody dies, they don't know where the next kin is or whatever, right? They're going to resell the property, put it on the market. That money goes to the survivor's benefits, right? Sometimes their office does it. Well, they'll get it, fixed up to fair market value, sell it, and then the profit goes to the family. But there are also sometimes there's people that will file something in court, maybe, where they go, hey, I would like to do this process with this thing because I find out like they're checking listings of like something's overdue because of property taxes or wherever it's going to be, but like the death hasn't been reported, maybe, I don't know. And so they're going in and then they're selling it, or they're buying it for a very low bid because they're not advertising it as much, or they're not fixing it up to buy it at a low process. Then they fix it up and then they sell it. So they get a little bit more money than if his office was able to do it. And so we've used it as theft. Now, the problem is this is all legal because they're sending out the notices. They don't have to send them registered mail, and that's part of the law. So yes, this company could be doing this, but Robert is obsessed with this. And he thinks that because this other company that got $6 million because he was investigating them, even though he lost his election and got kicked out of his office, that's why they killed this reporter and then set him up and framed him for murder because he was, getting it all in their business. But he just keeps going on, proving a point that nobody cares about. And that doesn't matter. Fast forwarding through the
if you need to build any foundation, I can do that.
sidebars.
So then,
Very soon you're going to lay some foundation.
yeah, of course, absolutely, Your Honor. And again, this goes to the theory of my case, right? Somebody framed me for this, and I believe it is Compass Realty, and I believe it is for the work that I've done against them. And this document here shows the start of the work that I began against them. You're going to hear much more about the things that I did and the things that they did. And so, again, this spreadsheet, I think really, it's the beginning. So I'd ask if I could please have it admitted. So when you
But his attorneys are assistants of counsel, I believe. Northwest NW.
view this exhibit,
Or maybe they're case leads, but I don't think they. I think I think he hired him as assistant counsel. Somebody knows that. Let me know.
X2, you'll see that there's a spreadsheet attached to it, and I just want to go over a few of the cases with you. And well, generally, first I'll tell you that.
And I bet his spreadsheet sucks. By my standards, I would have something pretty to look at that showed my numbers. To highlight, this is what you got to see. I guarantee you his is all no lines. It's all the same text. No highlighting, nothing.
Again, it was about 60 cases. And let's see here.
Okay, Pinky AJ say he's not pro se here yet. Actually, being represented by 2 lawyers, but he decided to go with narrative because the lawyers knew he was lying his head off and they didn't want to perjure. They didn't want to perjure themselves. Well, they know they can't ask him questions that would be supporting perjury, right? Okay, so he did hire these 2 lawyers, I guess. Okay, interesting.
And there was, for about 60 cases, there's about a $6 million difference between, and this is total, this is not each,
Right,
but obviously. For those cases, there's about a $6 million total between the time that the estate sold the property to the time that the person who purchased it sold it to another person, right? And so that's quite a bit of money for that. I'll say that originally, the estates in total sold the properties for $8.5 million. And later, the people who sold it after, they sold it for about $14.5 million.
Oh my God. I felt a little loud, but let me turn that down if I can. Sorry about that. Well, you just proved it right there. Can the jury just vote now? Everyone goes home? Everyone goes home because he's innocent?
Right.
I mean, look at the spreadsheet.
So when you're talking about 8.5 million and then making 6 million, I mean, it's nearly double, right? From one sale to the next sale. And if you look at some of the homes on here, you'll see.
Yeah, perfect music. But I just want to know if it's making people's ears bleed. I just changed it and I brought it down. I don't know how to get it to save the settings.
For example, there's this one.
So I apologize to anyone that was just scared.
Prince, Bobby. So the deceased name is Bobby Prince. The estate sold the home on December 31st of 2018 for $232,000, and the next sale was done the same day. So the person who bought it resold it the same day for $50,000 more.
There, hopefully that was better. But did you just hear that? The person bought it and resold it the same day. Yes, but the problem is, Robert, they're not breaking any laws. Okay? His direct testimony was about 2.5 hours before he got back up on redirect. It's the same with the prosecution cross-examination. This is shortened down to 2 hours with the sidebars fast-forwarded through. But I did leave it a lot of the spaces in where he's going... It's probably about 20 minutes of talking.
Now, administrators have a fiduciary duty to get the maximum value that they can for the estate. But when I see a situation, and again, this is the most extreme one. I mean, I'm not saying that all of them are like this, but all of them are. There's a significant difference between the one price and the other price. But this is just the most extreme one. Is for someone to be able to resell a property the same day for $50,000 more, it's just not right. So, and again, you'll see that.
Yeah, his ticks and clicks do bother me as well, Barry Adams. And this is not the way somebody who's like urgently trying to prove something presents it. Like, this is at a boring month-end review meeting. This is bad for that even. He's not making any clear sense. Just go it. Why are you so unprepared, Robert? You've had 2 years.
Again, anywhere from 30 to
Yes, Kathleen, it's called flipping property. It is legal. It's legal, Robert.
50% between the two sales when you review this exhibit. And so
And that totally explains why my DNA is under the victim's fingers.
this floored me, right? To see that this is going on. And immediately, all I knew was that there was something funny going on here. And what troubled me too is that the prior public administrator said, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to do anything about it. Throw them in the trash. And I think that certainly
Not Robert.
That's really the role of the Clark County public administrator, right? I think Compass Realty has made this argument that, that's not the jurisdiction of the public administrator, but
Carolina Hurtado, this all coming from a guy who's recorded having sex in the backseat of his SUV with his floozy coworker. Well, I mean, nobody's perfect.
if you think about it, whether we are trying to secure property so someone can't jump through the window and steal everything in the house, or we're trying to stop somebody from
Breaking in somewhere and murdering somebody. I wish he had used that example.
stealing.
Welcome, David Anderson Kirk. Finally made it to a live stream. Welcome.
Equity, I believe it's the same thing. And so that's, I absolutely disagree with John Cahill. So
What it also sounds to me like was happening based on what I see in the case, like Robert was obsessed with this and it was probably causing him to not get other stuff done. Right? Super Kelly, he's big mad. He's not in control of who gets these houses because he has the Napoleon complex, right? He's 6'5.5". And I'm sorry, if you're counting half inches and you're above the age of 9, you're a little pathetic.
we've got a duty to protect these estates, right? Well, whether it's, again, stopping criminals from getting into the houses and stealing stuff, or unscrupulous real estate agents from trying to work the system. So I started to object to all of these petitions. And as I told you before, it was the probate commissioner who told me, look, I need to start looking at this. This doesn't seem right. And I asked him, I said, well, why can't you stop these? Not that I was saying like, I don't want to do it, but out of curiosity, why can't you? And he told me that the law, and so I'll say right now that, sorry.
Basically, he's going to destroy his own case for illegal activity here by saying it's legal.
Or just coming backwards a bit, because I think it's now is a good time to talk about this independent administration. So independent administration is not a generally used form of probate. It's, rarely used. What independent administration allows somebody to do is to sell houses without going through the regular court process. You basically circumvent the whole process. So the reason that I didn't, really look into it is I never had a need to use it. Because normally during the probate process, when somebody's selling a house, you've got to ask the court for permission. You give everybody notice. And you allow, when you do this, for the estate to get the best value. Because what happens is all of these folks out there who are interested in buying and flipping properties, whatever, they scour all of these listings. So if you ever go to probate court on a Friday, you'll see that they're real estate investors just all over the place, right? But so by publishing it, you ensure that you're going to get the best value possible. These people are watching and they're going to say, oh, you know what? Maybe there's an extra 20 grand I can squeeze out of that. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to go after it, right? And so like I said, it's good for the families. And it's transparent. And
I just want to point out the other thing he's missing is market competition. The only reason these other people are doing it is because they make profit off of it, Robert. You are a government bureaucracy that cannot handle all the volume, which is why they obviously allow these other people to do this. You are so inept at getting everything through that it allows this scenario to happen. Nobody would do it if they weren't making money. It just as Kathleen pointed out, it's house flipping. They're not going to do it for free.
So when somebody uses this Independent Administration Act, and they're a
Yeah, hopefully somebody's taking notes.
corporate probate administrator, that's concerning. Because basically what they're trying to say is
it as concerning as your murder case? $5 chicken shite. He looks like a pug. If a pug fell down 76 flights of stairs and then tried to explain it away for 3 hours. $5. Thank you very much, chicken shite. And Kim Hunter 7606 became a YouTube member. I think you were on before. You just re-upped. Thank you. Welcome.
well, I want to sell this property out of this estate, but I don't want it to go through the regular process. I want to be able to sell it to this guy at this price, and that's it. And when they would use this type of law, the law says that if nobody objects, then the probate commissioner has to grant the petition. Right, so his hands were tied. So one of the things I did do later was I actually went to the legislature and raised my concerns. And there are folks in the legislature that agreed. And so we were able to change the laws so that I had greater watchdog capabilities in these situations.
I just started a poll. Would Robert look would he look better if he just shaved off his eyebrows? I don't think he could look worse. But just shave them off altogether, Robert. Let's it's a yes or no poll.
Which I think only made this situation more dire for certain folks. And again, I'll get further into that. But so, I began to go ahead and file objections to these petitions. And the probate commissioner pretty much granted my objections just about every time. Because in the regular law, again, not independent administration, just generally, the public administrator has higher priority than all other people, except for family, right? And we would never step in the way of family. Family member wants to handle the estate, great. If we're in the middle of getting ready to handle a probate estate, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking as though I'm still there, but I think for the purposes of...
No, the problem is you're not talking about any of the evidence. Your DNA was on the victim. Yeah. The teenage victim was on the clothing found hidden in your house, which matched the photo of the killer. Your car matches the killer's car perfectly. What the are you talking about, Robert?
Of what I'm sharing with you, I'm just going to continue to do that. We would say, okay, you know what? Great. Maybe we have this fee or that fee that you got to pay. Could be a couple $100, but
Cool.
We don't want to, we're not here to take away anything from you. Happy to transfer it. Right. And we got to.
Yeah. Sergeant Bob Custard or whatever. It's just the rims don't match, which they obviously do.
Per the county's codes, or, we've got to charge the fee. Right? It's not something we just say, well, we're going to waive it. And but like I said, it was never any like real burden to pay the $150 to take over, especially when they're done liquidating, they're looking at thousands of dollars in the family's pocket. But again, it's their money, right? But when it came to, again, third-party administrators, if I saw that there was something strange going on, I stepped in. Now, if there's a third-party administrator who was when I reviewed the petition, appeared to be above board, wasn't doing anything fishy, I didn't get involved. Right? If they were utilizing the regular court process, they weren't, again, trying to hide anything, then great. More power to you. But so the one company that was doing this over and over again, more than anybody else, was Compass Realty, and they were doing it through.
I mean, he has to see the look on the jury's faces, right? Does he not understand human emotion? I mean, he might not. They've got to be looking like this, being like, huh?
Thomas More. And so anytime one of Thomas Moore's petitions came through, the probate commissioner said, you've got to give it to the public administrator's office. And I think that's where that whole thing started way back, right?
What whole thing?
So as they were, as I was going at this and filing the objections, they started to fight back in various ways. First, they started to threaten to sue me. They said, well, you're messing with our business.
What you were.
Right. And I wasn't afraid of them because, what they were doing was not right.
Oh my God, Robert. Bravo. Bravo. He's not afraid of them.
They started making complaints to my assistant county manager or, county management. Trying to get my assistant county manager to stop me. And, we had meetings, he and I said, you know what, this is not okay. I'm not going to, I can't agree to that. No, So despite their complaints over and over again.
Where's this documented? Well, that would be helpful, right? If he introduced some evidence that any of this happened, but a futuristic fractious. Is he interviewing for a job? I mean, this would be a horrible, like I said, this would be a horrible job interview. I wouldn't hire this guy.
County, my county manager said, you know what, I can't do anything. He's the guy in charge. Sorry. Then they started filing these false claims about me in court pleadings, saying that, I was trying to steal their business.
You already said that, and you are.
But I was trying to steal it for myself.
Yes, as the head of the office, you are.
Now, at the time I was a salaried employee. Like some of the smaller counties, they have a setup where the public administrators, all they earn is a commission based on the estates they put through the process. Okay, but not so with Clark County. With Clark County, you get a paycheck and that's it. So I never received a commission off of any of the estates that we administered, ever. So to say that, I was trying to do this to get something out of it was just false. Again, just trying to sling mud to see if they couldn't scare me off or do it. I don't know. Then in early 2022, about March 2022.
Oh, thank God, we're up to the year of the murder.
I approached Steve Wolfson. Now, he and I and other elected department heads, we would have regular meetings and we would coordinate. And elections were around the corner, so we started talking about what ideas do you have? What ideas do you have? That type of thing, right?
The other thing I really hate, and this is maybe just my own pet peeve, like his tie here. Fix your tie, Robert. This is your most important, I guess you could say, interview of your life. This is your most important presentation of your entire life because you could go to prison forever, potentially. Fix your tie, cinch it up. What is wrong with you?
And
why do you have to make the knot so big? It's just like your big fat head.
During one of our meetings, I had mentioned that,
we are almost a quarter of the way into the testimony, Cornhole.
I had this concern with this company. About a year before, I had raised the issue with the Attorney General's office, and apparently they didn't see where the wrong was. But the weird thing about that was that they took less than a month for the investigation, and so I don't know if the Attorney General thought, well, we don't get it, we don't see how this is crime or what, but.
No, I like a double Windsor knot too, right? But what I'm saying is he doesn't have it done properly. You've got to have it cinched up. I like the thick top, right? But the way it looks with his head, it just amplifies the bulbousness of his alien head.
I think about a month later, Comps Realty had a letter in hand saying that they didn't see any wrongdoing.
And you got to flip that tie out. You can't have the crease going inward.
Like I said, to me, that was just weird. And again, I will get into why this is not just about mail.
Then get into it now.
I think
Idiot. Straight chicken shite.
Detective Jackie said, "Oh, this is about mailings." No, it's
Yes, it was. Okay. He's gonna say Detective Jappy says this is about mailings. It wasn't. What Detective Jappy's testimony was he? The accusation was that they were not informing. Basically, they're saying Compass Realty was getting these properties and not informing the family. Well, the Compass Realty was mailing out notices to the next of kin or wherever, but they weren't sending it. They were basically sending it to last address and file or something, right? They didn't send certified mail, which required a signature. But the law doesn't require that. Right. So that's what this case comes down to, that the law doesn't require certified mail to inform the family members, hey, we're going to move on this property unless you want to do something. That's entirely it. It is about certified mail.
It's way worse than that, in my opinion. So I told Mr. Wolfson about the situation. You know, he's got these guys who are, again, from one sale to the next. I mean, we're looking at anywhere, again, close to 50%. You know, and he's like, well, okay. Like, and I asked him, well, can you do an investigation? He said, well, that's not.
Who's Mr. Wilson?
That's not our department. I mean, we don't do investigations. Because I thought, well, the AG does investigations. Maybe the DA does too. He said, no, we don't do that. But I know someone who can help you. There's this guy I know in public corruption, Derek Jett, and I'll put you in touch with him. Mr. Jappy, I don't know if it was a day or two later, calls me. We discuss the case on the phone. We set up a meeting. I go down there with a package with all of my materials.
And let me guess, you gave a speech like this and he was totally fucking lost. Is that what happened, Robert? You bored him to death that day. But even despite that, he still opened an investigation, which he followed for 11 months into them.
And I actually included a letter to him with that.
Kit Kat, state got to cross him. How did that go? Well, my thumbnail that I haven't put up yet is called The Cross Annihilation in Flames. It is one of the worst cross-examinations I've ever seen. And we have to endure this to get to that tomorrow, which will be at 6:15 Pacific.
A letter in that kind of highlighted some of the concerns. And so I'd like to share J1.
Okay, second piece of evidence.
It was a letter to Detective Jappy.
A letter to Detective Chappie. So his second piece of evidence is another thing he created. I'm sure this is going to explain the DNA evidence and his car being on Scarlet Amazon 3455. Hear me out. SKR shared it out in his newest video. I caught a little bit of it. I was sick. By the way, Dexter did not help at all with this sickness. Dexter has been so annoying the last couple days. He is just circling me the entire time, jumping on the headboard, jumping down on me, will not lay down. Just let me lay.
J1 has been admitted.
Thank you. And so one of the things that I had noted in this letter, and again, it's a 4-page letter, like I said, getting into detail about what had been going on and what, I guess you'll see it. But one of the issues I noted was this estate of James Clark. And I noted that in this case, we found that Thomas Moore had removed everything from the kitchen before any sale of the home. Removing the...
Who is SKR? SKR is the guy who does long form commentary, and for some reason people don't bitch in his comments about him talking too much, but they complain about me. It's a great channel though. SKR, just look him up. He does a lot of Sarah Boone stuff. I would dream to be as good as him.
Kitchen, and of course this also involved the flooring, but it didn't say that here. But removing the kitchen before the sale would devalue the property in a way that would allow Moore to get a lower appraisal value before making the sale. There are photos that we took on 5/1/2019 showing that the kitchen was in place at the time that the decedent died. So what had happened was that we had taken over because family wasn't found. Family came in, they took over, but apparently something happened where they couldn't administer it. And in the
What's ironic? What's SKR's Linda Train is my mom's name is Linda. Linda, not Linder. Linda. Yes, SKR has the best narrator voice.
Meantime, Thomas More stepped in. So he came into the picture, got out of the picture, family stepped in, then Thomas More stepped in because I think a notice of default was filed with the recorder's office because the mortgage had gone into arrears. And so maybe I'll explain that just a little bit. So when somebody dies, oftentimes, the way that these private administrators get word, I mean, I think these guys have a different method, but a lot of the ways.
So he's about to explain how they legally do it.
That one of the ways that they typically do is they watch for these public notices that the homes have gone into default because the mortgages have lapsed. Like somebody stopped paying the mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now at this point, the mortgage company is getting ready to do a foreclosure, right? So they do this. Thank you, sir. Oh, sorry. They do this notice of intent to.
The microphone isn't your problem, sir.
Default, right? And this is the signal to some of these folks that, okay, well, I should go check this out and see why this is a default.
Do you think, Robert, this costs them money to do this, but they do it because they can make a profit flipping the house for more? And your office obviously can't handle this.
Maybe I'll go knock on the door and see if anybody's home. I'll look through the window, see if it looks like it's lived in. And they might do more research and try to find out who it was that was there and whether they died or not. Right? So then based on that, they'll file a petition in court to take over, to get this administration so they could sell the real property. So when they had taken control of this property from that point to the point that family notified us again that, this estate had been taken from them, we stepped in. I filed an objection. We got into the house and found out that Thomas More had ripped out the flooring in the kitchen before a sale that he was preparing for.
Oh my goodness.
And so that was in this first note to Detective Jappy. Early on, this was March 6th of 2022, that I raised that particular concern with Detective Jappy.
Is the sound effect too loud? Let me know.
But so about 2 weeks later, Detective Jappy told me, hey, you know what? Excuse me. Well, I learned from Detective Jappy that they discovered that Compass Realty or Thomas More, they were not reporting on the closing documents for the estates, any personal property at all. So, when somebody dies and they have a house, you've got stuff in the house, right? Given that Vegas is a commuter city, most people have a car.
Right? Most people do have a car. You know what kind of car you have? The one that was seen driving to German's house on the day he was murdered by the killer. Uh-oh.
Right? At least one car. So, for someone to die with a house, but zero property of any value inside the house or any car.
Just like the property found by the police inside your house, the hat that was worn by the killer with your DNA on it cut up in the tote bin in the garage, and the shoes that match the killer's with your DNA hidden underneath the chair, like that kind of personal property, Robert?
Detective Jappy thought that was really odd. He's like, no, there's something wrong here. So we're going to.
Yeah, Carolina Hurtado, SK are do different types of content. That's basically it. I'm not taking any slight. I love SKR. I love SKR.
Well, it is my understanding that they were going to go ahead and do stakeouts. Now, I don't know if this was supposed to be with some type of static car that just sits there empty with a video camera, but basically my understanding was they were going to do observation on some of these homes when they still had property inside them, vehicles in front of them, and see what exactly happened with all that stuff.
Oh, by the way, I am working on the new mailbag with the comments. I'm trying to collect them. the comments, people basically mostly saying, why are you talking so much? You're not funny, all that kind of stuff. But then I did find one I particularly enjoy that said that this channel is as bad as the host looks.
Because again, you know, if you've got a house that's worth $500,000, you should probably have like property
Oh, Janice, you're gonna love it because I added some music to when he's crying.
inside the house that's kind of like commensurate with that, right? Like, you know, you might have like $5,000, $10,000 worth of property that can be sold. For the public administrator's office, oftentimes there was personal property to be sold, recovered and sold in apartments, right? I mean,
You don't say.
There's very, very often stuff that's worth, you know, at least $3,000-$4,000.
Margarita, hear me out. Please show us the rest video too. It's the best. I might have to show that. I don't have it ready to go. I'll have to show it tomorrow because it's still rendering the remainder of this testimony as we go.
Right, and it's the program administrator's duty, whether you're the public administrator or a private administrator, to ensure that those items are sold and the benefit is provided to the estate, right?
Yes, Anna Banana. He does cry in this testimony when they show photos of the police search of his house.
So,
yeah, I think everyone say we love you. I'm not taking it personally when he says that the channel looks as bad as the host. I'm just saying, like, why? Obviously, I'm not going to either. I believe that is the case, and I already know it's the truth, or I don't believe it, and I'm not going to care. So, what's the point of leaving it?
when, you know, these guys have done hundreds of estates and no personal property has been reported and no vehicles have been reported, it seemed that was a concern for Mr. Jaffe. But after that, I really didn't hear much more. And I understand that he said that he and I were buddies and we talked.
By the way, we are 8 away from 5,000 subscribers. Maybe we could hit it during the stream.
Often, but that wasn't the case. That was kind of strange. We, you know, I never considered him like a friend per se. I'm not that I'm, you know, trying to say anything about that, but.
And he didn't call him a friend. What he said, so basically, this is another point where we have to fill in information. On the night that he was arrested and got home, and he saw the condition of his house after the search, he basically made a feeble attempt to try and kill himself, and then he made threats. So the SWAT team was there, and then Jaffe, who was also on the crisis response team for like 6 years and had known Robert based on this investigation, was called there to talk to him because of somebody he knew. And he talked on the phone for like 2 hours. He's pathetic. He's like, well, I can't do anything. And then at the end, he's like, I'm stuck in the tub like a little bitch. But he never said in his testimony that they were friends. He said, you know, we had an established relationship, like a working relationship, right? He never said, oh, I cared about him. We were friends. He said, well, I care about people doing harm to themselves. But he never said they were friends. This is Robert inserting words.
For him to say that he thought we were good friends, I couldn't understand
Never
how he
said
characterized it that way.
Never said you were good friends. So you've just shown another lie in front of the jury.
I guess when he's claiming that, we'll get to the ambulance situation later.
We're always getting to stuff later.
But so he said again that we're going to do these things, and then we're going to do title research. You know, and again, still, I didn't hear anything about the concerns with the James Clark situation, or even the Rajab Abdul situation. And then I'll get into that situation here in a little bit.
But, can't wait.
You know, that same month, Rita Reed, you know, my assistant public administrator, who's now the current public administrator, she filed for the position, and also a Compass Realty realtor filed to run for the position as well. So again, to this point, Compass Realty seems like doing everything they could to try to stop me, even running one of their own employees to try to take the seat from me. It was in the end of April.
Unfortunately, Northwest, there's no way to speed up within StreamYard, or else I would.
And I'd like to, at the end of April. I guess I'm not sure how the conversation went or how this interaction went between Rita Reed and one of the folks from Compass Realty, but Rita Reed for her campaign received $10,000. $10,000 from, excuse me, $5,000 from Adam Fenn and $5,000 from Compass Realty.
Can you believe it? The people that think Robert is an annoying prick donated $5,000 to the person inside his office that was running against him. And another employee of theirs donated $5,000. Oh my goodness. Janice Trice donated 10 Hear Me Out memberships. Gifted 10 Hear Me Out memberships. Congratulations to those who received them. Thank you very much, Janice. Engineer. Sorry, I'm very bad at names. That's one of my things I've always been terrible at. Like I read it wrong. I get it pronounced in my head, and then it's just stuck. But Engineer Trice.
I could share L1.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you want to, are you offering it?
Yes, please.
Okay, L1 is admitted.
Thank you. And so the document here again is Rita Reed's campaign contribution report from the Nevada Secretary of State. And I'm turning to...
It doesn't matter, Robert. Even if you prove that she got $10,000, nobody gives a shit. What does it have to do with your DNA?
Oh. You know...
And for those that didn't receive a membership, people are always gifting them, but membership is only $1, just letting you know. It's not meant for huge amounts of profit. It's just whatever. There are different levels, but they all have the same thing.
What? I think we might have to admit a different exhibit for another day.
See, and this is how unprepared he is. He doesn't even have the right document ready.
Apologies, but this is report number 1, and the contributions from Compass Realty and Adam Fenn are on report number 2. So my apologies. So
Who gives a shit, Robert?
so
That's just not the document you want.
that's correct. So if you would note that we're going to be looking at when I bring that back tomorrow, we'll be looking at report number 2 that has those contributions. So I end up, I guess after this happens, about 2 weeks later, Mr.
We're at 4,993 subs, 7 away.
German's article, his first article comes out. And, you know, I think we had those text messages from me from the day that I saw the article where I was upset. And I think, you know,
Old Soul 3609. Why is he taking it so personally? People donate to the preferred candidate. It happens every time. Every campaign. No, he's not taking. This is proof that he's set up for murder. Don't you understand how devastating this is to the prosecution's case?
Anybody who is the subject of an article that says certain things about you, I mean, could reasonably feel upset about it, right? I'll note that later, as we go through my tweets, you'll see that that same demeanor from that day is not exhibited in any of my tweets later. And again, we'll go over that later. But so the articles come out and all that, and Rita Reed, and I'll show you in the campaign report, or you'll be able to review the campaign report. She didn't get too many contributions other than this $10,000 from Adam Fenn and Compass Realty. She ended up running 2 different text message campaigns, publicizing to voters the articles, right? And that cost about...
Oh, no, Robert, don't do that. Don't do that, Robert, because you're saying that the money was spent on the articles that you think I mean, later you're going to try and argue didn't really matter to you, but you are directly connecting, hey, they spent the money on the articles. Robert, this is bad. Don't do this.
I think $9,000 or so. That'll be on later campaign reports how much was spent. So you'll see that this $10,000 that was given by Compass Realty and Ed went directly to this text message campaign, and I lost the primary. You know, it was a bummer. I mean, sorry, I don't know.
Bummer. You killed the guy already. I think it's more than a bummer. Based on your tweets, based on you 100% trying to combat these articles, and you killed the man after he said he was doing another records request.
You know, it was unfortunate, but I continued to fight against Compass Realty, and I think that that's something that they didn't expect, right? And I did it just because I thought it was the right thing to do, right? I didn't. I could have just gone home and put up my feet and done no work at all anymore.
Yeah, you could have, but you didn't. You decided to go murder a man instead. Idiot. Just wanted to when I talked about the jowls, right, and Jeepers Creepers, like, okay, wait till we can pause on him with his jowls hanging down.
Continued that particular battle. I had nothing to gain from it because, you know, in 7 months I was out anyway, right? So there was nothing for me to gain other than just doing doing the job, right?
All right, so you can kind of see his jowls there. This is what I keep thinking of with his jowls. You ever see this movie Jeepers Creepers? Those amazing jowls.
And then, you know, as I mentioned earlier, there's a state of Recep Abdul where we got some headway on something. I had been discussing with one of the heirs what Compass Realty was doing in that case. And so we were, you know, she was concerned and she asked us to intervene. So I filed a petition and we had a hearing, I believe it was on June 29th of 2022. And I'd like to see if we could play that.
I don't know, Joe the Pod. Maybe you were gifted a membership and then it didn't re-up. But welcome, Joe the Pod. Welcome, Mama to 3.
The hearing video from that hearing. And this is
now we're at 4,996. We need 4 more people to hit the 5,000. The only reason to press it because I'm up and I want to get the screenshot.
The district attorney wants.
Yes, he's giving narrative testimony because his lawyers will not ask him these questions because they have to adhere to ethics.
An opportunity to review it.
Oh my God, Slothcat is here. Slothcat. If you don't know Slothcat, go check his channel. He has the best cartoons on Lauren Armstrong on the internet. I love him.
It's not going
And his channel's name is Slothcat.
to reserve on that, and you can probably talk about it maybe tomorrow morning.
Thank you. I was feeling I'd like to have the jury see that video. Yes.
Yeah, you would, but you couldn't get it introduced because you're an idiot.
I'd like to go ahead and then, if I may, share the Recep Abdul inventory.
Oh my God, another irrelevant thing.
And that is, excuse me, M1, sorry. And this document is an inventory filed in the estate of Recep Abdul, for which I filed an objection. On the ammo, or is that? This right now has been admitted. Okay. Is it possible?
One is in the
Slothcat. You was really love me to plug my channel like that. Yeah, I love your channel, Slothcat. You're internet, your YouTube celebrity to me.
Put it on the album.
Permission after he explains it.
sure. No problem.
So again, this was so basically when somebody's doing a probate case, By the end of the case, they've got to report everything that was found on the date of death of the person. If they have a house, they put that, they put the house on the appraisal, on the inventory, and they attach an appraisal for the house. Vehicles, they'll list.
Yeah, I'm gonna retake. What's the thing called again? The Lorenography. You mean the thing I did 62 live hours on and spent 120 hours preparing for? The Lorenography 25? That thing? Yeah. That thing.
Vehicles, bank accounts. If there's personal property and they have appraised the property, that'll be listed on the inventory.
Okay, whoever said unsub from Hear Me Out just to mess with them did unsub, because now we're at 5 away. Congratulations.
So I have here the inventory that was filed by Cynthia Sauerland, who was the probate administrator for this case, who ended up taking over for Thomas Moore. So he had been the administrator for them for some time, and then she stepped in and continued their practices for them. As it turns out, she was also a real estate agent for them, whereas I don't think Thomas Moore was both an agent and the administrator.
Okay, now I know you're just trolling me. You've done something on Lauren? Whatever.
But there's the appraisal attached to this was something that was of concern to the heirs, and that I found concerning as well.
Found concerning. This is your murder case, sir. Murder trial, sir. What about the DNA?
Mr. Eskowitz, do you mind?
Is there a page?
And unfortunately, they on the appraisal, they didn't mark the pages, but I guess, you can see.
I want to make out with you.
Look, Derek is still
I don't know why
disgusting.
the
He's not
appraiser
even
didn't
here.
actually do page numbers on his appraisal, but it would be certainly this page. I'd like to show that, and then the following page.
Okay, so I'll show these 2 pages.
And so when you do an inventory, it's supposed to be this.
Not that Robert is saying anything interesting here, but because he's talking about inventory order. But I want to do a special shout out to Monica Vandenberg 3330. She has been going through the Lorenography night by night, leaving comments. She is truly a true. I've never seen anyone else on the entire replay crew. I know some people were live and replay crew. I'm not dissing anyone that couldn't catch every live. I'm just saying she has methodically gone through from day one. She's up to day. What's she on now? She might have. She's on night 32. She's on the finale. She did it. So yeah, it is a great journey. I recommend everyone do it. I get no money from it. There's no ads on it. Nothing. It's just out there for everyone to understand.
State of. Yes, sir.
Is that? Everybody see that? Okay.
This is supposed to be the state of the home when on the date of the person's death. So when you see here, the appraisal that they've got for their inventory shows a kitchen that has no cabinets, I hope you can see that. If not, certainly when we review the exhibit later, you'll see there are no cabinets, no sink, no counter. It's the bare walls in the kitchen. And the floor is missing. So, and you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, same thing. The picture's not great, but you'll see the floor is missing there too. And sir, may we go to the next page? And in the hallway, missing flooring. In the bedroom, missing flooring. And so it costs money to do this process, right? To rip these things out. So it's interesting that, I guess, I'm not providing that document for you. So the fact that they didn't show that they paid for these services to me seems strange.
Now, what he's saying is they ripped out the flooring and stuff and then appraised the house at that, then sold it to somebody, then put all the flooring and everything in it, then sold it at fair market value, which gave them, a windfall of $70,000. of course, this proves that the DNA under the victim's, his DNA being under the victim's fingernails is irrelevant because, look, the flooring was missing.
But this is apparently what they're claiming as to how they found the home. And you'll, thank you, sir, very much. Thank you. And you'll find that, again, like I said before, James Clark was in a similar condition. So, and later, after this property, oh, I'm sorry, I'm fidgeting. Later, when this property was resold, it was sold by the, well, and I'm sorry, like I said, I'm a little nervous, but if you look at that appraisal, you'll see that the appraiser said that he believed that it would take about $20,000 in repair costs to bring the home up to fair market value. It was about 3 months later that the buyer resold the home for $70,000.
Oh my God.
So as far as I'm concerned, that extra $50,000 should have gone to the family, not these other guys.
Not these other guys.
Right there, I thought, you know, when somebody is ripping property out of a house to sell it to another individual with whom they've had these purchases or these transactions over and over again.
But it's not too big of a leap to believe that they would kill an innocent victim that was helping them get rid of their biggest competition and then frame it on you. It's not that big of a leap.
That should be looked into seriously, because to me, I believe that's theft. Right? I mean, it makes no sense otherwise. So, an interesting thing.
Okay, give us another interesting thing.
So I wrote Chappie an email after the hearing that we had, and I really want you guys to see, want you folks to see the hearing, because I think it certainly
stupid hearing
put Compass Realty on notice, and the judge was very concerned.
So now he's going to go into this little explanation. He wants this hearing. So basically, there was a public hearing, or not a public hearing. There's a hearing in court over this matter where he's up there being, you know, he says it like he's, Mr. Smith goes to Washington or whatever, but I guarantee he was just up there stumbling and mumbling as much as he is now about all these issues with Compass Realty, trying to block them. And he wants the jury to see this because they're going to know how hard hitting he is. And that would definitely provide support his narrative that they set him up for murder because they cannot handle him. Nothing about your presentation here, Robert, makes you think you're effective at anything.
And so you'll see that tomorrow, I hope. Jappy, it's me. I ended up, was that same day?
The Ferret hearing is great as well, Taylor M. Weir. Because he keeps the Ferret hearing where he's trying to represent himself. Oh, we're at 4,999. I gotta keep hitting refresh quicker so I can get that screenshot. His Ferret hearing is so bad because the judge goes, "You understand this is a terrible idea." He's like, Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Do you know the rules of evidence? No. And he keeps giving an explanation. The judge is like, I need a simple yes or no here. Do you? Oh, there it is, 5,000. Screenshot. Yay! We did it. Woo! Thank you, everyone. It's crazy. 5,000. Northwest NWI resubbed. No, but his Ferret hearing is great just to reveal the type of person he is, where he's just going, no. Oh, well, I understand. And then they're saying, well, do you know who sets the sentencing? He's like, well, yeah, I understand that it's the judge. And she's like, no. So you don't understand. He cannot admit that he doesn't know something.
I believe writing Detective Jappy an email saying that we went to court and there were these issues with this house as well, just like with James Clark. I don't know that I said that as like James Clark, but I certainly noticed those issues.
Hold on, I got a screenshot. I got to send the screenshot to my parents to make sure I get back into the inheritance because I'm no longer a loser.
May I share V2?
Oh my God. Robert.
This is an email from me to Detective Jappy. I can't recall the date, but it was in regard to the estate of Rajab Abdul.
It's been admitted, B2 is admitted.
Thank you. And so this is actually to Derek Jappy and one of the other folks that was on his detail. This is hello, gentlemen. I'm not sure if you all had a chance to catch the hearing. I will get the video for you. Also, I'm not sure if you had a chance to view the response. It had an appraisal with the kitchen torn out. Today, Deborah Erbach testified that the photos of the house in the appraisal were not representative of how she had left the house. She had cleaned the house before she had
And I will send the link to my family members who will not click on this stream again.
returned home.
As normal.
She also said, and again, I'm sorry that, I guess it's hearsay, but also the kitchen was intact when she left the home.
It's not hearsay if it's in the email. Why is Robert so stupid?
It seems that the kitchen in this case was also potentially ripped out to reduce the value of the real property before the appraisal. So Detective Jappy was on notice of this concern as well.
He was on notice.
But and so despite all that, Detective Jappy, I'll tell you that at a certain point, I was, during the course of this case, you probably were aware that you may be aware that I was representing myself, and I was fighting for certain evidence. And I requested the case file for the case that Detective Jappy had built against me. When they gave me that case file, they also gave me the case file against Compass Realty as well.
Oh.
And so I was able to observe what was done in the investigation. So despite the fact that Detective Jappy had said that...
How does George Lucas describe something? Well, I don't know what he's going to describe here.
There would be these stakeouts.
The ship, and then it's got the flooring, and then the droids come in and they remove the flooring, and then they sell the ship for a lower cost, and then you come back and put the flooring back in. And
there were no stakeouts.
There you go, a terrible George Lucas impression.
There were no vehicle title searches to see what was going on with these vehicles. Despite the fact that I raised concerns about what we found in the appraisals, at least the one appraisal, Detective Jappy didn't seek appraisals from any of the other cases. Right, so it seemed,
Taylor M. This is not illegal.
Odd to me that he would get up here and say that this was...
George Lucas explaining this would be more entertaining. George Lucas would be let off.
All about mail. Right, he said, "Oh, this is just..." Objection, I just faced the test. Yeah, I guess, I can't recall what the to my knowledge, the issue that was raised, according to Detective Jappy, was that this is about certified mailing. I can't recall what the other issue was. So, but I guess you can go back to your notes and see what Detective Jappy said to you, what this was about. Because that's, in my opinion, that's clearly not what this was about. This is my opinion.
Yet your opinion is not relevant to another testimony.
I believe it's likely that,
need some cash
based on what I'm going to discuss later about what Detective Jappy did, I believe there's some type of compensation to him for all this.
Sorry, I have a mouthful of cashews, but Detective Jappy is being paid. Oh my God.
So I'm a witness.
Just ask you to move on.
Sure, absolutely. And again, like I said before, I can have my opinions.
These are your theories. You're a witness espousing conspiracy theories.
Right, and it's up to you to decide. I'm not the lawyer up here.
ask you to limit
Each
your
chair was attached
testimony
to a brain
to your
cell.
personal knowledge and the facts
Oh, sorry.
of your opinion, to your personal you to limit your testimony to your personal knowledge and the facts, because your opinions are not really relevant. And so I would ask you your personal knowledge and things that you observed, and any inferences and arguments that can be made, your attorneys will be able to make those at the end.
And if Your Honor, if you don't mind, for clarification's sake, again, when
Yeah, argue with the judge. So the judges just told him, look, your opinion is irrelevant. You need to testify about things you know. You can't say, well, I think Jack Jappy got paid off. You have to provide evidence that you saw the payoff. You have to provide evidence of a bank record showing he mysteriously deposited $20,000 after you had this argument. Your opinion is irrelevant, sir.
when Zach Schilling was giving his opinion about circumstances.
But if you want to have a hearing at the end of the day, that's fine too. But again, I would just ask that you limit it to the facts and your personal knowledge.
And those people were giving opinions on evidence, such as, yes, this shoe appears to be exactly like this shoe.
Any of your observations.
So if I have a particular opinion on some of the testimony, can I share that?
Your opinions are not relevant at this time. So again,
I'm going to back it up. I'm not going to step over it. Sorry.
not really relevant. And so I would ask you your personal knowledge and things that you observed, and any inferences and arguments that can be made, your attorneys will be able to make those at the end.
And if Your Honor, if you don't mind, for clarification's sake, again, when Zach Schilling was giving his opinion about circumstances.
But if you want to have a hearing at the end of the day, that's fine too. But again, I would just ask that you limit it to the facts and your personal knowledge and any of your observations.
So if I have a particular opinion on some of the testimony, can I share that?
Your opinions are not relevant at this time. So again, I would ask you to limit your testimony to facts and observations that you make.
Looking at his lawyers, being like, is this for real? Is this for real?
And then according to the judge's counsel, those are matters that you can argue closely.
Real quick, Ravina Denver says his hands are so weird, not quite lady hands, and definitely not man's hands. And David Anderson Kirk said he has tiny little raccoon hands. Yes, his hands are weird. I did notice that as well, especially during the sentencing when he's crying. Like his hands, they're very. It's almost like he has rubber fingers. Like they're all the way folded over, and they're very long and lean, like spindly, and you just look at his hands and like you look at him and you're like it's clammy. His hands are clammy. They've got you shake his hand, it's gonna be a weak handshake. I mean, I've always liked the proportion of my hands before I put on the winter weight or whatever, but I've always believed the proportion of my fingers to my palm has been normal. Maybe it's just because I see my own hands and I see these little spindly fingers coming out like a spider or something. But yeah.
So
There you go. Wait, let's back it up a sec. You can see his jowls here. So they're not letting me testify. They're hiding the truth. Yeah, see his jowls there? It's just like Jeepers Creepers. It's just like the Creeper.
So the attorney for Compass Realty began to stonewall me after the hearing, because what happened during the hearing is that I was granted this authority to engage in investigations against them. The judge, you'll see what the judge decided about the situation. I think that they had a lot to worry about. And that was June 29th that hearing occurred.
Yes, he is sulking.
So, but after that hearing, there still has to be a paper order
Weak handshake.
that is entered, that is filed in order to grant.
Morphine syndrome. I don't know about that, but it's good.
the power that was actually given during the hearing, right? So you got to have that written order in hand in order to act. I had to basically, as part of the process, you have to send the order to the other attorney, and you all have to try to agree to the terms of the order, and both sides sign it if they agree upon it. The attorney for Compass Realty.
I mean, think about how much better everyone's talking about his head, right? Think about how much better he would look if he was just wearing a baseball cap. I know it'd be totally inappropriate for court, but he would look so much more normal.
Just would not. And things got delayed. And then finally, the order got.
No, Marfan syndrome is abnormally tall. He's abnormally short, is he not? Right. He wishes he had Marfan syndrome. He's 5'6.5". Like I said, that nobody under the age of 9 counts the half inch or quarter inch that they are.
Filed. It was on, I believe, August 29th. My apologies, but I do have the order that I drafted in the estate of Rajab Abdul that I'd like to share as N1.
Nancy?
N as in Nancy.
Here's the thing. I also want to clarify. I'm not making fun of short. I'm only 5'9", right? I'm not tall like my brother, right? You know, other men are shorter. I don't mock people for being short or whatever. And I don't even mock people that do lifts or whatever to make themselves taller, right? But when you're a complete prick like Robert is, and you are an asshole to everyone, and you have this big chip on your shoulder, and you're bullying everyone, the fact that you're wearing lifts also makes it kind of hilarious, right? Like, just be yourself then. If you think you're that commanding, why do you also need to wear lifts? If that makes sense. Like, I think you know what I'm saying.
When was admitted?
Thank you. My apologies. It was actually filed on August 31st, 2022. And as you all know, Mr. Gurman was murdered on September 2nd.
Well, I'm 5'9.25". Kidding. No, I don't make fun of lifts. I mean, people do whatever. You can't help your height. If it helps them be taken, you know, I'm sure people do take shorter people less seriously. So if you are a competent person that is seeing that, hey, look, me being short is causing some kind of thing, and then you just put in lifts, but then you are still yourself, more power to you. All right. Just don't be an asshole like this guy.
2022. But I guess I also want to mention at the same time that I was fighting.
Well, Lutheros X3H, I'm having trouble what this has to do with the murder. None of this has to do with the murder. None of it.
Compass Realty in probate court, and also beyond trying to work with Detective Jappy on that criminal investigation. I'd also filed a complaint with the Nevada Real Estate Division as well. And I'd raised
all right, Salem Carey,
issues that I've discussed already.
See you tomorrow.
And also I raised issues about some of the other codes related to real estate that were being broken, because Compass Realty was selling properties to Adam Fenn, one of their own agents, using the same scheme. And when Mr. Gurman was murdered, a couple of things happened.
You were arrested?
One, the new public administrator did not finish acting on any of the investigation in Rajab Abdul.
Oh my goodness.
There's been no activity. So any of the investigating that I was going to do is not being done at this point. And the complaint I made with the Nevada Real Estate Division, I got documentation that it closed in November of 2022. And so, you know, I believe that this was, I mean, it'd be quite a coincidence if, you know, the fact that Mr. Irwin was killed and was put on me, that they just had a serendipitous benefit from that, that all these things that were coming to a head for them, just, it's done. No repercussions, no nothing. So, you know, that's, I'll leave it to you, you know, to think about that. And then in early August,
No, don't leave it to us, because if you can't prove it, then nobody's going to think about it.
and you heard Detective Jeffy saying in early August,
This guy was the public administrator for Clark County, settling these houses of estates where people died. It was an elected position.
that
Sorry, the question was, somebody said you got to read the question. I'm trying to get better. Hope Case Camp 2958 said, "What did this guy do for work?" And that was the comment I just made.
Rita Reed and Alicia Goodwin approached him. And that, you know, after they approached him, that Kimberly McMahon approached him. And you heard that Kimberly McMahon was somebody who worked as a real estate agent for me at the public administrator's office. And she, again, was a lieutenant Metro, and that she had raised these allegations of a bribery scheme.
Okay, I'll insert here because you don't have this background based on the prior testimony. So what happened was Detective Jaffe is investigating Compass Realty, right? And then whatever her name is, Lynn or whatever, I don't remember, the person that ran against him in his own office, and this other person who was a police officer, but then I believe became involved in real estate, came up with an accusation that Robert Tellis was taking kickbacks from a certain agent to provide him listings. So then Robert Jaffe also started an investigation into Robert Tellis. He didn't stop. They went into Compass, and he just kept doing both investigations. So then Robert is going to insinuate that this was all spurred by Compass Real Estate. Yeah, Rita Reeds. Thank you, Taylor. Now, when the other thing that's important is in Jaffe's testimony, or Jaffe's testimony, is that at the end, or when he was indicted, he didn't stop his investigation into Compass Realty, and it didn't stop his investigation into Robert Tellis in the kickbacks. But he ultimately closed the case and said, "I don't recommend prosecution from Robert Tellis." He sent it to the FBI. The FBI said, we don't really find anything here statistically. He did recommend the Compass Realty investigation to the prosecutor's office, but they declined to prosecute. So this idea that this was all done to shut him up is completely irrelevant, based on the fact that, like, Jaffe wasn't taking kickbacks. He investigated as he wanted. Yeah, Robert had a wife he was cheating on too. No, well, I assume she left him now that he's going to prison. I don't know.
And you know, I can't recall the date. I think it was August 7th or so. But and I'm gonna get that information for you here soon. But later,
the real travesty is, I don't understand, after he was convicted of this, because he obviously did it, I don't understand how he didn't get life without parole. He got life with parole after 28 years with the enhancement. Why does this guy ever need to be out? I mean, he'll probably never get out because he never get admit to his crime, but this should be a LWOP all day. He's in his 40s. He's not getting any better.
it was August
You killed a journalist for writing articles about you, about stuff you actually did.
17th that Detective Jaffe had an interview with Kimberly McMahon at, I guess, the Department of Homeland Security, I believe. And the statement from that is, one, I don't know if we want to do two I mean, I got one document coming right after the other. I don't know. I'd like to try to also, because I would like to show you, you know, the facts that are embedded within Detective Jaffe's, or I should say the probable cause statements embedded within his statement that don't match up to the statement from her interview. And that's what I would like to share with you. So we'll see if I can get that done. I believe it's 01 and the search one, I believe. Yeah, I'm working with a grease pen, and the writing's kind of thick.
I can't wait to get to the part where he's crying.
S1? I'm so sorry.
Oh man, that's not till part 3. It's not till like an hour and a half
No,
into it.
I'm sorry. It's,
By the counter.
it was
We got another
the
half hour to go.
the search warrant that Detective Jappy had done. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, because unfortunately
Yeah, he's using grease pen.
the
Yeah, he cries. He cries. It's pretty pathetic.
it could be
Let me see if I can render a preview for you.
if it's by Derek Jappy, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this time 01 is not admitted, and we can't find the other document, but I think at the end of the day, after the jury is excused, we can go further into that.
So, Kimberly McMahon had provided again, an interview, and in it, I guess I can speak to it. I'm hoping I can speak to my personal knowledge at least on it. I understand that she had alleged that.
Objection, hearsay.
You're not gonna, you can't go into any hearsay or what somebody else said.
Okay, well, supposedly I had requested a commission from Kimberly, and
Objection, hearsay?
I believe he's referring to the testimony that had been elicited from Detective Jackson in his cross-examination.
Okay, so you can, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, you can just offer whatever relevant testimony you have.
so it was claimed by that I asked her for commissions and or for a referral fee, which would have allegedly been in March of 2019. But she ended up making a claim that
Objection, hearsay.
so she said, so she was interviewed.
He's a terrible lawyer.
I guess you can do the math. She was interviewed by Detective Jappy 3.5 years later on that supposed issue. So, I think that, and also at the time, I only had 4 months left on my office.
Which is why nobody needs to frame you.
Why would, personally, I'm not sure why someone would wait 3.5 years to make a claim. Okay, sure. Okay, Your Honor. That's okay. I'll go on.
All right, here's a preview of him crying.
I too.
He's looking at photos of his house after the police search.
And this is J2.
So
that's coming up. Well, you be the judge, Meanwhile.
So
That's
Detective Jappy
the next
obtained
half
the
hour
search
here.
warrant into me. Being able to now, from that point forward, track me starting August 17th. And it seems to, at least until September 7th, right?
Nice. NJ Lorindos. You know all the music. Yep. Moonlight Sonata. You call out in the Hall of the Mountain King. That's why you got the wrench. I did piano recitals. I hated the piano recitals. I was always so nervous.
I had requested all these surveillance logs when I was representing myself. And originally I had received only 3 from from that whole time.
Objection.
Sure.
So now his argument, I don't know if it's clear here. So basically what he was saying is Detective Jappy put him under surveillance because of the bribery accusations, right? But they only did they didn't do everyday surveillance because or trailing because, as he said in his direct testimony, and again, I encourage you just review Detective Jappy's testimony in this trial and just see how clear and straightforward it is compared to this nonsense. He said, well, our policies, we don't do everyday surveillance because, you know, if we do it every day and somebody might notice a car following them, they would know that they're under surveillance. They might get suspicious and like that kind of thing, which seems very reasonable. But his argument is, I don't believe I wasn't under surveillance every day. And because the day of the murder, they're saying I wasn't under surveillance. That's bullshit. They know I was under surveillance. They know I didn't do it. And so he's saying, well, I was only provided 3 days of surveillance, and then maybe a fourth day. But yeah.
I'm not sure why that would be relevant, so I'm going to sustain the relevance objection at this point.
Sure. Oh, and I guess this goes to a comment that Detective Jappy had made, Your Honor. Detective Jappy had said that they
The
performed.
objection was
Oh,
sustained.
okay, but
No, but if you
but
want
I-
to take it up at the end of the day.
Okay, but you can't say it, Robert. Do you understand how court works? You're a lawyer.
We're happy to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to explain. Okay, so can I speak about what he had said?
No.
I mean, as far as okay, well,
Oh, that little look. I hate his little looks.
That's- I could repeat his testimony in court. Is that still hearsay?
Generally, I don't like witnesses to say, this is what another witness said.
Sure,
I
but
mean, the jury will be the ones to determine what the testimony was, but if you have something to add based on his testimony.
exactly right. So in order to provide context for what to provide next, I just have to remind them of what his testimony was. That's all.
No, you can't do that, Robert. So my note, he says, glances at attorney. Robert was warned about self-representation. He's not self-representing, but this is as bad as you can get because he overruled his attorneys by saying, I got to get on the stand. It shows why you need an attorney to question you so you don't just ramble on about this bullshit. But he believes his theories and interpretation of the evidence is the same as evidence because it's conceded. So what is the difference? What? No, I'm providing my opinion on it. That is good as gold.
Is that
Well,
okay?
that's exactly what I don't allow witnesses to do, is tell the jury what another witness testified to. You can say generally, but it's not appropriate to inform the jury what another witness testified to.
Looking at his attorney, being like, is she telling the truth? You're idiot. Robert, you don't know what you're doing.
Unless you have a transcript of that testimony.
That's how the judge is already doing too much. If you have a testimony, the transcript of the testimony, you can refer to it, but you don't.
So what I'll do then is I will ask if we could share now. So it came to my attention that from reviewing the file into the investigation into Compass Realty, that Cynthia Sauerland was surveilled 2 days in a row.
Oh my God. Somebody's surveilled 2 days in a row. This blows up the entire prosecution's case, doesn't it, Robert?
And so hopefully you can remember why that is important. And so I would like to introduce, if I may, M2.
At this time, the objection is going to be sustained. However, if Mr. Droskowitz wants to call Detective Jappy back and go into this, that is fine as well.
And that's the other part. You should have cross-examined the people on this, Robert, but you didn't. That's the whole point. You can't just separately testify about what they said. You cross-examine. This is the 101 of criminal trials, or any trial, or any court case. Idiot.
Thank you.
And so because I've got other items.
Yeah. Magario Jones Johnson. Oof, I only saw a tiny bit of this trial, but this bullshit narrative is so annoying. Nothing he has shared seems relevant to the matter at hand. He's trying to distract us or bore us. No, that's the thing. He believes it is 100% relative to proving his conspiracy theory. He's just that stupid. And none of it is related. We don't even get to confronting the direct evidence until the 1 hour, 30-minute mark.
I want to review in advance of, certain exhibits to make sure that I can get them in for what occurred on 9/2.
Actually, it might be earlier because I did the timestamps after, and I was fast forwarding, so it might be sooner.
I'm going to go ahead and go forward, and then I'll save that discussion for later. So,
which you never do.
The Sunday after Mr. Gurma was murdered, I learned, and I was shocked. I think that, when.
And by the way, I am going to try and be live streaming the Brian Walsh trial Monday. Don't know how I'm going to work it out with work, but hopefully, if you're interested in that, I will be live.
It was unreal.
Hopefully.
Then the following day, I know there was testimony about, I'd like to see if, I know there's been an exhibit that's been admitted, and it's regarding a discussion between me and Roberta Lee. I don't know if we can publish that. That would have been a text message discussion we had regarding the killer's SUV. It's a state exhibit. Correct.
So he's going to attempt to now confront some direct evidence, but not really.
Something else.
What's the skinny on the Brian Walsh case?
Find that exhibit.
Yeah, well, the skinny on the Brian Walsh case is he killed his wife, who's preparing to leave him because he is a broke loser. And then he dismembered her body and hid it everywhere. He pretended he didn't report her missing. He also has Google searches on his tablet or iPad saying how long until a body smells, best way to dismember a body, etc., etc. He's pled guilty to the dismembering and violating a corpse charges, but he's still saying, I didn't do it. He's an idiot. I don't know if he'll take the stand, though.
The state's exhibit. I'll keep looking. All right, thank you.
Yeah, this child's iPad.
So when we were having that conversation, you might have, she had shared a picture of this SUV, and in the picture, in the comment above it, it said something along the lines of the front rims don't match the back rim.
All right, so he's talking about the tweet from Robert Bob Custer, or Colonel Bob Custer, whatever, General Bob Custer, saying the front rims and the back rims don't match. Now, in that photo itself, the rims do match, but it looks like there's maybe brake dust on the front rims. They're not exactly the same in the light, but they absolutely do match, and they absolutely match his car.
And I looked at the picture and thought, oh, well, you know what? That's okay. That's not, that's clearly not my vehicle.
They're about to show it here in a second.
And so that's what I was, that's what I conveyed in the text messages that have been admitted. So
yeah, David Anderson Kirk. It's basically the same as Chandler Hollison. Body found, Wisconsin body found, like river body found.
I don't know if it's correct, which I would think you'd normally call it hearsay, but they've been admitted.
So now he's being a little bitch. You're like, well, the state got this in. And again, you see his fist on his face. This is where I'm making the comparison to the Jerry Long.
Specifically a Tankella Sierra.
For the record, this is state's exhibit 343 that's been.
Thank you, sir. Okay, sir, I'm sorry, did I? Here, this general Bob Custer. I'm not sure who the gentleman is, but he says that the Las Vegas murder suspect vehicles have a different spoke pattern. Most vehicles will have wheels with matching patterns.
So you can't really see it here because it's not a full screen video. Wait, maybe I can make this full screen. Okay. So the basic spoke pattern of this car is 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. 3 spokes are small, 3 spokes are big. So you have a big spike on one side, you have a small spike on the other side, 6 spikes. These rims 100% match each other. They might not be the same shade, but they 100% match each other. But General Bob Custer has this tweet.
So when I saw that, I thought, oh, okay, well, obviously it's not my car because my rims all match.
And they all match the killer's car.
And so that was the substance of that conversation. But later I thought, well, holy crap. Excuse me. Sorry. Like, my gosh.
Can I swear? Can I swear?
It still can't be a coincidence that the killer is driving a vehicle that's like mine. So I started to get really scared. Right? It couldn't seem to be any kind of coincidence that this person was driving a vehicle that was just like mine. Thank you, sir. And so I went outside, just double.
Okay, so but here's where Robert really begins to destroy his own case. He's trying to simultaneously saying this looks like something that belongs to me or is mine, but also this is and it's not, but also this is planted. Well, is it exactly like yours and it's planted, or is it not like yours? So you're innocent.
Check, make sure I'm not losing my mind. I looked like, okay, well, my rims match. Okay. And so I went ahead and started washing the cars, trying to just take my mind off things, and I washed the 3 cars, but there's been a debate about whether or not law enforcement knew 1 or 3. And that is what it is. Then at night, after dinner, I started making, like cooking for my daughter.
All right, he's going to handle. I wouldn't say that first argument was handling any kind of evidence because it's provably wrong. But now he's going to explain the cut on his finger. This is the first piece of evidence I think he actually tries to combat with an alternate explanation.
Lunches. My one particular daughter, she won't eat like the school lunch, or she didn't at the time. So I'd make her chicken fried rice off of like a Google recipe. I was distracted, I inadvertently cut my finger.
Wasn't from the stabbings. He's making chicken fried rice. Totally believable.
And I cut it across the tip of the finger, right? And if you look at the picture, it was,
Look at his weird little fingers. This is what I'm talking about. These weird fingers.
I don't know if we need to bring the picture up or not, but is that something we should do? Or so basically, you'll see that.
And are we sure this guy isn't an albino? He's supposed to be Hispanic. He's the whitest man I have ever seen. He looks like the movie Powder, other than his eyebrows.
It may be difficult to see, but the way that.
Or that guy from Logan.
I cut it was as I was chopping right across the tip. So, and it, I don't know what the
I don't mean to interrupt
No, sure.
because we do have a photo that was a state.
okay.
The interest of time and efficiency.
Sure, please.
It sounds like there are sounds going on in the fast forward. There's not. It's just a weird quirk of the fast forward.
Tell you about this other related situation. So while I was being self-represented, I attempted to seek these surveillance videos that included the video of me washing my car, or videos of me washing my cars. The judge granted
Objection.
the production of that.
Sustained. Stop talking, Robert.
However, I never received the videos.
It was sustained, Robert.
And
The objection was sustained.
oh, okay. So
The motion was tried.
Yeah, the hand on the chin is pissing you off? Right, because it looks like Jerry London.
specifically a tan color Sierra.
Granted.
I believe the videos show that I didn't have the finger injury. If you think about it, if somebody has a serious finger injury, would they be washing?
Objection argumentative.
I mean,
My God, another piece of the state's case disproven. He's not going to wash his cars with a cut finger. It's going to sting. It's going to sting.
I would not be washing.
Testify about your own
Sure.
experience.
Oh, sure, Your Honor. I believe I would not be washing
No, you don't. No.
my 3 vehicles if I had a serious finger injury.
Don't say I believe. Say I would not.
And as you've probably already gathered, you're going to hear about the fact that I was at the gym at around noon. And I believe I would not be working out with a serious finger injury. Sir, you have that?
Oh my God. Look, he wouldn't be washing his cars. He wouldn't be working at the gym with the finger injury because the finger injury came later from making the chicken fried rice for his daughter for their lunches. And he sliced it, kind of in a crossway or whatever. And there's a video from the judge or that he requested from the police that the judge wouldn't grant, but he can't get it admitted now. But I believe he shows his finger's not injured.
Yes, of course, permission, I'm going to publish. See, it's been admitted 185.
So, I mean, it may be tough to see that again. Like I said, it was a lateral cut, or it went across the tip.
You see it close up.
Okay, please. So you can see I still have the tip of my finger. If you can see it there. I had put super glue on it, and they pulled the super glue plug out of my finger, and so that's and the reason it's all gunky like that is because again the super glue mixed with blood.
What does that have to do with anything, Robert?
So, thank you, sir. But so when I cut my finger that night, I had used scissors to cut, the super glue bottle had actually, the tip had dried. Sometimes when I have an open super glue bottle, the tip dries and I have
Just the
to
tip.
cut the tip.
He used to cut the tip. Just like Lauren cuts the tip off the condoms that he uses to jerk off. Let's see.
I want to make out with you.
So I had to grab scissors in order to do that. And I inadvertently left blood on the scissors that I forgot to clean off. But once I cut the tip off the super glue bottle, I super glued the tip of my finger together. I believe my healing process is
No, here comes some great testimony.
such that I would not have had such a nasty injury for 5 days.
Look at that. That's science right there. His healing process is such he would not have had the same injury for 5 days. His sliced fingertip that he had super glued on would be healed by now if it was back around the time of the murder. A story like that's gotta be true.
Again, I can't speak to anyone else's healing process, but that is what it is.
Yeah, that is his defense, J8 Leah. Trust me, bro. Yeah, what else are you missing here, Robert? You brought up so much.
I think we're going to discuss the situation of the surveillance log later. Is that right?
Discuss it now.
So you heard that a search warrant was obtained, and I got pulled over early in the morning on September 7th, 2022. The officers came at me with their guns drawn.
Oh my God. I wrote down in my comments, criminals are always pointing out how when they're being arrested, the police had their guns out. Did you get shot? No? Well, I guess it was okay then, huh? Officer safety? Bullshit.
Yelling at me.
Yelling?
And
Oh my God.
I was basically coming from dropping off my stepson at school, getting ready to go home to pick up my one of my other daughters and then take her to school.
Mm.
And so they just, out of nowhere, 3 police cars just run up on me from the back, and I just scared. I had no idea what was going on. I mean,
You didn't? You already knew that you were driving the same car as the suspect. You already knew the guy that you hated was murdered. You had no idea? You had zero idea.
yeah, they basically yell at me to just stand. I can't remember exactly what they said, but
But what are you testifying about?
they're yelling at me. They patted me down. They handcuffed me. They threw me in the back of a patrol car.
Why are criminals are always described as like threw me back? I have yet to seen a single body cam footage of anybody being thrown in a police car. But all of these criminals that get arrested for the crimes they committed are always saying like, I was thrown in the car. Never. I've never. If somebody has a body cam of somebody being thrown in a car, show it to me.
I asked them what I did. I asked them, can I call somebody? Can I do anything? I mean, I did this for over an hour and a half. Just tell me what's going on. Tell me what's, I mean, obviously at this point, I had my suspicions because of like the whole,
I thought you didn't know.
just all that thing. But they wouldn't tell me what was going on. They just left me there.
Well, you had your suspicions.
And the whole time my family didn't know where I was.
Hello, HearMeowt. I love your emails going back and forth. By the way, go check out Human Tooth. Their subreddit is Sarah Boone Continued on Reddit. See, that's more of a credit than I gave to somebody that took and posted on their Patreon. Just saying.
As far as I know, my daughter was expected for me to come home and take her to school. I was distraught already by that point. And I believe you've heard how distraught I was about my family and what they were going through at that moment that I could imagine.
I don't know what your family's going through. It's the middle of the day. Why would they even know you're missing?
It was my understanding that if I went to the Summerlin Area Command for them to just take this DNA and to take photographs of me, that I would be allowed to just come right back to my vehicle and go on my way. That was what I was led to believe. And then and I was led to believe that. And later I found out that 5 minutes after that, my vehicle was towed away.
Robert, what the are you going on about? Who gives a shit? Yeah, they collected your vehicle that matched the killer's vehicle. You leave that part out there, though, don't you, Robert? The fact that your vehicle matching your exact vehicle was seen at the murder scene that you owned, and of course they towed it away.
May I get YouTube? Yes, that should be a CAD log from a traffic stop.
You two is admitted.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So now he's going to go with the CAD report saying that they called for the tow immediately, proving what?
And throughout this, you can see how they're mentioning that I'm going to Palo Verde to drop my stepson off at the
Yeah, they were following you.
bus stop for LBA.
Right. They were communicating where you were.
On page 9 of this CAD log, it's about the sixth line down says on September 7th, 2022 at 8:09 a.m. request tow.
So what, Robert?
So I was led to believe that I'd be able to come right back home, but when
And you did go right back home. That's the other thing he leaves out. He wasn't arrested. He was allowed to leave.
the tow was called in, or when you see a tow in that report a few minutes later, I don't know that was really what was intended.
But you did go home.
So then I was held there at the Summerlin Area Command. They did the swabs, they did the photos,
Uh-huh.
and then they took my jeans.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know how we're doing for time, but we show with my jeans and
Martin admitted.
also there's a photo as well.
So this is the part where he's like, look at the photo of the killer and look at the jeans they took off on me. They took off me on the day I was arrested, and they don't match, which they do kind of match. But who gives a shit? The prosecution never said he was wearing the jeans he did when he did the murder.
Let me make sure what we have up there.
Do you want Mr. Draskovich to hold up the jeans?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Could we also publish that? Is that photo good?
Yes.
Oh, there should be. I'm sorry. Go on. No, sir. It's one that shows the front of the pants.
Front of the pants.
Actually, it may take a few more minutes, Your Honor. So I don't know if you want to just end it.
All right, so it's probably a good time.
All right, so they break for day one, and he continues on day two.
Conclude.
Swear the testimony you're about to give this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may be seated.
What do you think the impression left in the jury's head after that first day was? Oh my God, this guy's really innocent. Or, wow, he's going to delay us even more.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Robert Tejas. First name is Robert, Robert. Last name is Tejas, Telles.
You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. And again, with respect to Compass Realty's motives, I wanted to show you a probate court video.
Wait a minute, we were talking about the jeans yesterday. What are you talking about, a probate court?
I'd like to see if we could share that.
Okay, so he's going back to the hearing that wasn't allowed yesterday, where they could see him hammering Compass Realty, set him up for murder.
This is going to be D3, and it's not been admitted yet.
You objected on this matter.
Obviously, you're.
Right.
The state has withdrawn any objections, so it will be admitted. It will go back with the jury panel. However, I'm not going to allow you to publish.
Oh. So we're not going to watch this epic court hearing published in court. They can look at it if they want because it's totally irrelevant.
So we need to go back. If you could please review that video. I would like to ask if, getting back to where we were yesterday, if I could ask that we please share, well, first of all, I'd like to share a picture of the killer's pants. I believe it is a...
Notice he says killer because he will deny this later, that he's agreeing this is the killer.
Zoomed in version of one of the videos that was provided by...
Because he's so stupid.
The state.
You have it?
So look at this idiot wearing this orange construction long sleeve shirt, this weird ass straw sombrero, blue jeans, gray Nikes with four slashes on the side, which exactly match. I mean, you can't see it in this picture, but they exactly match the shoes found in Robert's house, hidden under his chair with his own DNA in it. And he cut up one of them. And he's got a bag. Come on, Robert.
You guys are in here every day, so.
We're having trouble with the picture.
What are we trying to do? Just that picture. I
I'm
don't
just zooming in.
I don't even know where that's coming from. Well,
If I may, I'd like to publish Exhibit A. Thank you, sir.
The defense is publishing to the jury Exhibit A.
I'd like to show
Look at
the two.
Look at how short those pants are. He's got to be wearing like 28 length, right? Come on. It's like midget pants. He might even be shopping at, I mean, they look stonewashed, right? Is he doing American Eagle Kids?
My
Abercrombie
jeans
Kids?
versus the killer's pants.
Hollister?
I personally don't believe that they look the same.
his opinion is irrelevant.
Sustained.
And I'd like to also note that none of my other pants, jeans, or anything else
Yeah, his lawyers look totally checked out, like being like, whatever, we're getting paid. This guy's an idiot.
were taken from my home on the day of the search. As a result of my jeans being taken from me that day, I was put into that paper suit. And you've seen the photo of the paper suit. And the room was cold.
I rank this as my third dumbest point that he brings up. The second dumbest was, what was the one earlier? I didn't know how he died. There's one that's even dumber that's coming up right at the end, that in terms of his guilt or stupidity. But the third one, the room was cold. This is Las Vegas. As far as I understand it, most of the country does not value air conditioning as I do. Right? I like my house. I've got the heat pump. I like to keep it at 69 degrees because I don't want it to be hot. So what he is intimating is that the Las Vegas Police Department is so intent on making him uncomfortable that they are making it too cold for him. What an idiot.
I asked, well, when I attempted to have the temperature adjusted, there was no help there. So I spent the day freezing in that paper suit.
Oh. He does kind of look like Mr. Freeze, though.
There were various things that were done to, I believe, break me. I had conveyed concern all along about my family. And as time went on during this detention, interrogation, whatever.
I used to see you.
I learned of various things that I believe would tend
Okay, I don't understand. We lost like 30 people watching in the last 5 seconds. What did I say?
to, and did for me, break someone's spirit. I was informed that all of my vehicles were being taken away. And this was early in this interrogation. This was before they supposedly found a shoe, that they were taking all my vehicles away, which made no sense to me.
How does it not make sense?
Reach out to talk to my family, to try to put them at ease. I was denied the ability to make any phone calls. When I wanted to speak to an attorney, I was denied the ability to talk to an attorney.
Bullshit. Your attorneys would have presented this as evidence number one of this being a false imprisonment if this was true. Robert, you have to present evidence of this.
It was my understanding that my rights were being suspended because I was not arrested. I was just being detained. Later, again, detectives took advantage, I believe, of...
Oh, I got a text from my dad. I've been listening to your podcast. What a rambling mess he is. I'm more used to Perry Mason or Matlock, where the other attorney object to such drivel. I think his own attorney should object. Where was this trial? Dad, this trial was in Las Vegas.
My feelings for my family.
Get kind of the meta thing here going. Dan Aykroyd Conehead without the cone.
By referring to them over and over. And, it was a lot. Then all had finished. They were finished with the search.
Uh-huh.
And they took me back home.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you weren't under arrest. This is the part that floors me. Robert, you aren't even under arrest. You know how many people would kill to not be in arrest? Sarah Boone, when she went in with her bullshit questions, being like, I have questions for you, detective. What about his ring? When am I going to get it back? They weren't allowed to leave. No, these other people were never allowed to leave. You were allowed to leave. You got on that rare lottery ticket of you are 100% guilty, but we're going to let you go home. Robert, this is not a conspiracy.
The media was outside my house, and somebody followed me all the way to my garage door with a microphone in hand. I don't know if I'd say chasing me per se, but she was walking pretty briskly all the way up to my house. And well, that was, I'm sure, her right. I wasn't. It didn't help the situation. To know that the media had been tipped off and they were swarming around the house.
DNA hadn't been run yet, but it was obvious he did it because he owned the car that the killer owned, right? Like, I would say you had enough circumstantial evidence to hold him. Yeah, Grant Amata was allowed to leave, right? But they didn't really have any direct evidence other than circumstantial. You could say that the same car is circumstantial, but like he owned the exact car that the killer owned.
Then I walked into the house, and
all right, we're getting close to the crying.
What I saw hit me even harder. I'd like to share the photos of my house after.
We're 30 seconds away from the crying. Here we go.
Metro finished their search. I think it's A2 to maybe S2.
And if you're a murder suspect, you do not break down about the search. You've got to break down about other things. This is ridiculous. And I just want to toot my own horn on my own classical music suggestion again, or selection again.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, they're admitted into evidence. And
Mr. Draskovich, I'm sorry.
do you want to publish?
I would, if you wouldn't mind, could you take maybe 10 seconds of photo and flip them for me? Thank you, sir.
Not to mention they found the crimes, or they found the clothes worn by the killer with your DNA on it that matched his. So the search was entirely appropriate to find the you had hidden. Robert,
You want to see the photos? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
he presents it like they came away with nothing. No, they came away with everything.
I guess maybe, but when we publish them, if you could publish them for about 10 seconds, if you would. And I'm what I'm concerned about, I'm publishing are the photos of the inside of my home and
They are.
what.
Here we go.
Yes.
So, thank you, sir.
This is A2.
So
There we go.
this is what I walked into in my house starting.
This is A2, A1.
Right.
No, the similar looking photo.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you done with this photo?
Yes, sir.
This is B2.
Coincidentally, I was led to believe that they were not going to make a mess of my house.
This is C2.
This is why I had to do my own channel. I love it. I love it. I love being here with all of you. Because I hear the background music when I'm seeing these videos.
This is D2.
Oh, keep it together, Robert. Keep it together.
This is E2.
Oh, Robert. Oh, no, Robert.
This is F2.
Oh, Robert. Oh, poor Robert. Look at you, Robert. Oh, poor baby boy. Oh, no, Robert.
This is H2.
Oh, look at that. Oh, no, Robert can't stand it. He's barely holding it back.
I2.
No, Robert. Oh, the
This
jury's
is J2.
the jury's surely gonna set you free. Oh, wipe those tears away.
I found my wife sitting on the floor in our bedroom in the middle of this mess. And so this for me was, the thing that just broke me.
Not being charged with murder, not having your well, you complained about everything that happened before this, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna play it again. Just I know people complain about everything on this channel, but whatever. My channel. We're going back. We're gonna watch Robert break down again. And these horrible. He acts like he's seeing a picture of his murdered family. It's just his family strewn around their bedrooms, and they found evidence doing it, meaning it was 100% appropriate because you hid it, Robert.
A2.
So this is what I walked into in my house starting.
This is A2, A1.
I know the similar looking photo.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you done with this photo?
Yes, sir.
This is B2.
Coincidentally, I was led to believe that they were not going to make a mess of my house.
Oh my God. The police weren't going to make a mess and they lied.
This is C2.
This is Moonlight Sonata, Kelly Ballerina
E2.
by Beethoven. You know, see, this isn't punishment enough.
This is E2.
Yeah, I want to know. Yeah, forget that somebody died, Marjorie Jones Johnson. I want to know when he found out how Robert Germain was German. Robert German, sorry, it's not pronounced as it's spelled. Was murdered. When he goes, oh, I just found out how he was murdered by the coroner today, and he says it was horrific. Was he crying like this then? I doubt it.
This is F2.
Hey, are they trying to make it worse?
This is G2.
Continue.
This is H2.
Yeah, they saw the crime scene photos, but I'm saying crying like this.
This is I2. And this is J2.
Oh my God, look at that.
So I found my wife sitting on the floor in our bedroom in the middle of this mess.
Oh my God.
And so this for me was, you know, the thing that just broke me.
So basically, what he's going to imply, though, is because he saw this is why he tried to kill himself, supposedly, and got stuck in the tub.
I knew I didn't do this thing, and yet the police claim to have this evidence.
They didn't claim to have the evidence. They gathered the evidence that is presented here in court. There's no claim. They presented it at this point. The jury has seen it. See in the corner here, Robert? Oh, sorry. This corner here. It says your DNA is under the victim's fingernails. The victim's DNA is on the clothing found in your house, which also has your DNA in it. It was hidden. It was cut up. Your car matches the killer's car. You have all these photos from Google Maps surveilling his house when you have no personal connection to him. It's not pretending to have all this evidence or whatever he said. Kelly Ballerina, 5 gifted Hear Me Out memberships. Congratulations to those who received them.
They did to me. And I have a $1 million life insurance policy. I didn't want.
You know what, Robert? I have a $1 million life insurance policy. Who the cares? Baller? What are you talking about? I wouldn't kill myself over being falsely accused of murder.
My family to have to go through more torture. And so I don't know what I was thinking, but you know what, if I can avoid the pain that they're going to suffer during this whole circus, then and put some money into their hands to make up for me not being there, then maybe this is the thing to do.
This is the Alex Murdoch argument, right?
But it was me never. I'm not guilty. I didn't kill Mr. German.
Why are you wiping away these non-existent tears?
So, but as you can see, I attempted suicide.
You're an alien.
And SWAT came in and pulled me out and put me into that ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
Detective Jappy came into the ambulance, and
Mhm.
you know, when he came to the ambulance, he came in to extract a confession from me.
Yeah, but nobody believes you at this point, Robert, because you haven't presented any evidence.
It was conveyed that if I would just plead guilty, that
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Look at his stupid face. He thought he was going to be able to do all this work. And his lawyers are like, no, you can't just get up and say that shit.
and in response, I said that I'm innocent, but I don't want my family to go through this.
Okay.
You know, this thing that's going to happen. I guess what I said exactly was, you know, I know that I would prove I'm innocent at trial, but I don't want my family to go through the pain.
That is his fourth stupidest argument. I will just say, if I'm accused of a crime that I didn't commit, and I know, as he says, I know I can prove my innocence at trial, the last thing I'm going to do is kill myself to prevent my family going through it, because if I prove my innocence, then that relieves all the social stigma around my family. If I kill myself, it looks like I'm guilty. Robert, you are an idiot.
And I wish that I had the audio to prove that to you, but apparently
You don't have it because it doesn't exist, and you didn't say it.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. We have the 911 records of you saying I'm stuck in the tub, and when SWAT comes in, because you're in the tub trying to kill yourself or whatever, you think you're going to drown yourself because you're a little that can't actually kill themselves. Idiot. We all saw the movie The Fugitive. Did Harrison Ford try to kill himself? No. He's like, the one-armed man did it. I'm going to prove it. You can go, oh, I can prove my innocence, and I'm going to kill myself. Andy Dufresne didn't do that. Innocent people don't kill themselves when they know they can prove it, as Robert says. Like, Robert's testimony is, I know I can prove my innocence, but I'm going to kill myself.
I'm not certain how we ended up leading off with Mr. Gurman's I guess the response to Mr. Gurman's request for the messages between me and Roberta, the emails and the Microsoft Teams, the production of those items that were given to or that they were going to give to Mr. Gurman. It's a lot. I think it's probably hundreds of pages. So I think we were trying to see whether or not we could produce them electronically so that you could review those messages for yourself and see whether or not they're a motive for murder.
Good approach, please.
Okay, it's my understanding, based on the representation, that exhibit will be created and it will be marked and admitted after it's created. The state's gonna put all those, I guess, communications onto a drive and it will be admitted.
Thank you. And this is my understanding they already produced that item. I don't know if we can make sure that what they're producing is.
Oh, you're going to say they're going to produce something that wasn't accurate as before? Shut the Robert.
You're going to review
it. I would like to now share a photo of my Yukon that was taken at the police impound in their garage. It's 02. And if we may publish it.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Carolina Hurtado. I feel like this is a resubscribe.
This is a photo of my Yukon.
but
that again was taken
welcome
by the
again.
police at the garage. If you will note, my Yukon doesn't have worn paint around the windshield.
And neither did the suspect vehicle. It's sunshine, you stupid idiots. You didn't prove with an expert testimony that there was worn paint on the suspect vehicle, Robert. But I'll give him credit. He's trying to attack some actual direct evidence,
Like the killers does.
But then again, you agree it is the killer's car, then, right, Robert?
I'd like to note that I am in jail. I don't have access to Photoshop
Carolina
to
Hotel,
Photoshop this photo so that to remove any alleged paint.
Oh, okay. Nobody's accused you of, well, I guess you're accusing them of doing Photoshop.
Worn paint. I don't also have Photoshop to modify the picture that Mr. Mogg took that shows allegedly that there was worn paint on my
another membership. Thank you, Carolina.
I'll also note for you, just because, the way that courts work and building records, that the doors on my car do lock and unlock. They do open. They do work. If someone were to open my car door, the visor, it works.
You just hear that, everyone? Oh my God, that's devastating to the prosecution's case. His door locks do work. His doors open and close. And if the doors are unlocked, somebody can reach in and flip down the visor. Wow. Wow. Amazing testimony, Robert.
It flips up, it flips down. So at any point, at any time, anyone could have opened the car door, flipped up my visor, flipped it down, even just prior to Mr. Mogg taking his photos.
Could have. But that's your hypothesis. There's no evidence of it.
And so that's what I've got for that photo. Thank you very much.
How about the DNA, Robert? Yeah, his visors flip up and down. His door locks lock and unlock. They open and close.
The cameras that are in the corner of my house, I did install those on September 5th.
Oh.
After my wife and I heard what we thought was a gunshot in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
If, and I think that it'd be pretty easy to, I
hate how much he says, and I
know that I said that to Detective Gaddis in my interview. And also it was previously discussed that those cameras were not there during the surveillance on the 1st. So you would, Mr. Mogg would not have found videos for the 2nd, for the 3rd, for the 4th. Personally, I believe that when there's no videos for all those days, I'm not sure how it could be so. Sure, no problem.
Regarding your observations.
Of course, sure.
Is
that okay? Okay, thank you.
His attorney being like, you idiot. You have just crucified yourself in front of the jury. You are doing no work here. This is why you don't need to go on the stand, because you're an idiot, but you are a narcissist, and being like, I just hope the check clears.
So,
all right. I like Mitch Berg. Good night.
I believe both. Well, I can't tell you what other people testified to, but I will say that that day, second, at 8:50 a.m., I did make a text message from my house, and I did not leave my house. And I'm just going to hit this one point really quickly.
Please, God, real quickly.
Through 9:10 a.m. at the very earliest. Okay. As I testify later, it was much later that I left my home, but that's, I believe, an important point.
How's important? You were missing for 5 to 6 hours on the day of the murder from the time you left your house, and you didn't respond to anyone via text or anything outgoing from your cell phone. In fact, you had a message from your wife coming in that said, "Where are you?" that you deleted off your phone. I guess I'm spoiling this for the prosecution side, but you are an idiot, Robert.
8:50 sent a text message. 9:10 I was still home. Now, I would like to share, if I may, R2, I believe, I'm not sure if that's been admitted by stipulation or not. These are the tweets that I made that had any reference to Mr. Gurman.
It's not yet been admitted.
It's marked as
R2.
Yeah, the state had produced a Twitter file that was not in, your typical web browser format.
Because this is because he deleted his Twitter account and they had to subpoena the records. I got that from Dreading. A piece of information. You deleted your Twitter account, Robert, because you knew you had made incriminating tweets.
And so when we went to review this is how those tweets came up.
Look at those jowls. Again, it's Jeepers Creepers. It's a creeper.
any objection?
No objection.
It's admitted and you may publish.
Here, let's.
Yeah, I like Dreading. I think he got Lauren wrong, though. He doesn't understand the comedy of Lauren.
So you'll notice
You know where, Carolina. Totally get it.
that you
No, I don't want anyone to feel like they're lesser than because they don't have a membership. I understand money's tight. That's why I make it $1 if you want to do it, but it's not a judgment on anyone who doesn't do it. I just provide stuff for the people who do support it. That's it.
You heard about that tweet where I talked about where I joked about hearing rustling in the trash, just a dig at Mr. Gurman.
Yeah, because you're a snarky little.
The one that's listed on 6, I believe, that's 6:18 at about 7 at almost 8 in the morning. You don't see the other tweets because again, for whatever reason, they didn't, when they produced this document, they didn't produce replies embedded in it. So, but that's the same one. And you see that my last tweet regarding Mr. Gurman is on 6/19.
Welcome, Planet Damnation.
And there I say, at JGurmanRJ at Review Journal. Actually, it wasn't lashing out so much as making sure that you finish the story about the website and maybe poking a little fun. A winky face emoji.
This is like me describing my conversation with Third Rail as just poking a little fun. No, that's not what it was.
I created, and you'll see that, as has already been admitted, I created this portion of my campaign website that talked about the stuff that was different things that I disputed.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to draw attention to that. So that's why I goaded Mr. Gurman into that a little bit. About the same time, it was actually June 16th, I had sent a text message to a friend who had reached out to me about, because he was, he just wanted to check in on me. And on the 16th, I conveyed to him that it's all good. I'm not actually mad at it. At this point, I was over it.
I hate this. Again, this hand on the chin. It's so fake. It's so, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's so manipulative. It just looks like the
specifically a Tankella Sierra.
A person is just lying and they're trying to hide their facial expressions.
I'm happy to move on. You know,
Not pompous. It's nonchalant. It's just it's manufactured. That's the word I'm looking for. It's just such a manufactured look when he's like he's got the chin on the hand on his chin and he's leaning forward and it's always just like right in the same space. It's such an act. Yeah, an act.
you know, so although, you know, German says he's going to do a third article, one about the website. I don't give a damn. LOL.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. That's something that we can, thank you, sir, that we can admit.
Yeah, glam, 90s glam mall photo, right? Margarito Jones Johnson. Yeah, it is kind of, it's also like the reporter for the Diane Downs interviews when she's like, tell me what you think, tell us what you think, tell us how the murders went down, right? It's just so like staged.
This text message. If we may, or if you could present it for mission. So you can see the content of there again. 3 days before I sent that last tweet.
It could also be that Scarlet Amazon 3455 from body language people. He's also subconsciously trying to cover the lies that are coming out of his mouth. I understand what you're saying. I think it's not that. I think this is just a maneuver to try and appear to be more casual. That is just very awkward.
Again, there were never any messages where I would threaten Mr. Gurman.
I don't know if the behavior panel covered.
You know, I'm certain that if there were, they would have been produced. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I understand, Scarlet Amazon. YouTube added the number nonsense. I mean, I don't know what YouTube is doing lately with their putting people at their actual YouTube channel. The same thing happens with me. I get HearMeowt _YouTube, which is my actual channel handle. But I don't know that I necessarily don't like it because I like that people have their own unique handles, but who knows?
The way that I handle things is I figure out ways to do things legally. And I'll discuss that in a little bit as to what I was playing. Your Honor, may I just stand up for one moment to show the jury why I didn't wear name brand shoes at the office? Just for a moment, and
You just want to stand up?
right where I'm at. Okay. So
I love this because it proves nothing, but
I don't know if you noticed that the height difference. I wear lifts.
Can somebody tell me? I've heard this before. They say a height difference. It's height difference. Is it not height?
In my shoes. But I'm about 6'5.5", and at
6'5.5" is what he says, but he's 5'6.5".
Call it a vanity thing, right? I just wanted to feel a little.
It is a vanity thing. It's also an insecurity thing on your part, specifically, Robert.
Taller. And so, if I may just
back it up,
and call it a vanity thing, right? I just wanted to feel a little taller. And so, if I may just demonstrate why this is important. So,
if it wasn't vanity, why are you doing it, Robert? Tell us the reason you were not taken seriously as a 5'6" man. I'm sorry, 5'6.5" man. Nobody recites half inches after the age of 9. But if it's not vanity, tell us, look, I was not being taken seriously when I was 5'6" and I got these lips, and all of a sudden people started taking me seriously. That's evidence. Provide evidence of the transactions before and after. You are going to provide useless evidence that you wore lifts and therefore you could not wear name brand shoes, which doesn't matter because you didn't wear name brand shoes to the office. You wore them to kill your victim.
These shoes that have built-in lifts, they're designed in a certain way where they don't slip off a person's foot when you're wearing them. Right?
Is there testimony that your shoes slipped off at any point? No? Then why do you care?
You can see how this is so elongated.
No, he did say 6'5", not FBI. He did say 6'5.5", but he's actually 5'6.5". And the jury follows up with a question later with that.
Because there's a lift in here, right? So you can't put, it's not, from when I've tried, I could not put a lift in a name brand shoe.
Who gives a
Because that shoe would slip right off. There's not enough of the back of this, once that lift's in there, in order to grab a hold of your foot. So essentially,
This is a total Prince Answers explanation of this stuff. I never saw Jeffrey with a camera, or I never saw Ghislaine with a camera. You know what? That picture couldn't be real because I never saw Ghislaine with a camera, and I've never been to the second story of the house. This is such a stupid argument.
be kicking my shoes off every time I walk. So I never wore.
Get that hand on that chin.
Again, any type of name brand shoe at the office, and I think that's something that'll likely be discussed at closing.
Will it? Because it doesn't matter.
And how that's relevant.
And he cannot sweat. Yes, Robin, the 80-hour pro, he cannot sweat.
Which, of course, brings me to the shoes in the house. I did not cut up a shoe.
I did not cut up a shoe
and hide it under my couch.
And hide it under my couch, even though my DNA is in it and it matches the killer shoe. I did not do that. Okay. So did you have your wife do it?
I did not cut up a hat.
I did not cut up a hat that the killer was seen wearing.
And put it in an open door of my toolbox.
And put it in the open door of my toolbox that was seen with the killer on camera.
I did not kill Mr. Berman. So I did not take a bag with my children's basketball and football out of the bin and use it during the commission of a murder.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Okay, you didn't do it? Great. But we have DNA evidence on those items that were found in your house via a police warrant search. So, what? I did not, Robin the 80-year pro, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And Hillary's right behind him being like, yeah, he's telling the truth. I think people, by the way, people misconstrued my criticism of not liking Hillary as though I was endorsing other people that may or may not have run against her in the past. No, it is Hillary specifically as a person. She has lied through my entire life. All right. That's all it was. All right. So everyone just settle down.
So I didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
Didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
I was, my next statement would have been argument. So let me skip.
Okay,
that.
so skip it.
And I think my attorney has already kind of discussed with you.
look at this dejected attorney sitting there like he's totally tanked her case. I don't know what we're supposed to do here.
The deletion of this body cam video. And I guess next I just want to share Well, I'm going to try to share some thoughts with you about the killer. It was strange to me that the killer.
Objection, proper.
I didn't get to hear, so, what did you,
I'll-
what's the topic?
Well, I wanted to talk about my observations about the killer.
You can testify about any facts.
So,
and observations
argumentative?
that you've made.
Okay. Observations that I made about the evidence that I reviewed, Your Honor.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. It was strange to me that the killer walked around the neighborhood.
And that
It's
is facts and observations that you have made.
You just,
Right, and I was clarifying earlier.
you moron, you just heard the judge saying, don't say anything of your opinions. I'm going to back it up.
You've made.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Back it up further.
I didn't get to hear, so, what did you,
I'll-
what's the topic?
Well, I wanted to talk about my observations about the killer.
You can testify about any facts and observations that you've made.
Observations that I made about the evidence that I reviewed, Your Honor.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. It was strange to me that the killer walked around the neighborhood.
And that
It's
is facts and observations that you have made.
Right, and I was clarifying earlier that if I reviewed the evidence that was provided to the state, but that's okay. I'll
Thank you.
I'll move on.
Okay, so don't say what you're about to say, Robert.
So I did not. Oh, make sure I get my order right here. So you saw a document with certain searches that said Jeff German, Las Vegas, Jeff German, Las Vegas, Rob for AV, those type of things. I'd like, and my apologies, I should have actually sought this out earlier. I don't know if we can.
Why are you bringing it up now? What? You've had 2 years, Robert.
It's a state's exhibit. If we can dig that up. It was a list of searches for Mr. German that was provided by the state. A lump of Cellbrite items. A lot of search results actually get pushed, or like pages get pushed up, is when people review or.
I love when Robert explains to us SEO engagement and the fact that he was searching for the victims' articles. He was actually just trying to promote his own website.
When people do a search and
It was the one man that was going to influence the entire algorithm by searching this over and over.
they visit a particular page based on the fact that they did these search terms, that would actually increase the ranking of the page. So I'll explain. So for example, again, if you Google Rob Tejas or Jeffrey German, Las Vegas, Rob for NV, then you go to my page and you find the page and you click it, then Google's going to say, okay, well, we're going to push this up, right? When people search, we're going to get it further up the chain. And so when I was doing these searches, you'll see, sir, is it?
You may.
Thank you, sir. And sir, may I ask you to kind of go through this slowly on the Elmo, if you don't mind? If you don't mind, please.
You may publish.
If I was trying to search for Mr. Gorman's personal information, I don't believe that I would repeatedly Google him over and over again. If you might
Yeah, you would if you're obsessed.
focus. I don't know if you all can. If you might zoom in just a little bit more, if you don't mind, sir.
Ah, damn it.
So you see that it starts off Jeff German, Las Vegas 4 times. Then I added Jeff German, Las Vegas public administrator. And if you could flip that page, please, sir. And then from there, if you could go down just a little bit, if you don't mind, just so I can read the very top. Okay, Jeff German, Las Vegas public administrator again. I did that a few times. And then if you could, and again, so if I was trying to find his address, I would be putting public administrator in the same search, right? If you could please flip.
Yes, Forever Wanderer. That's his explanation. He was trying to push up his own website traffic. So that's his excuse. It's his testimony.
That as well. So here it was trying to build a pattern. So next, I searched Jeff German Las Vegas Rub for NV, which is my campaign website. All right, so later, as I continued to research, I found out that the only thing it was going to do is bump the search result up on my own browser. But thank you, sir. So I ended up finding that there were paid services where you give them a credit card number and a certain amount of money to spend, and they have either one of two ways of doing it. They either have people in some other part of the country or the world manually typing in these search terms, from different spots to, and I guess it's I don't know if you'd call it cheating to have somebody artificially pushing your website up, but
Here's why this is so dumb. He is saying that he has no motive because he didn't really care about the articles. But he's also explaining how he invested time and research into altering the SEO algorithm so that his website would appear before the articles. What a moron.
I felt like, with what Rita Reid had done, that, if she was going to lie, that it was fair game for me to try to push my website up so that people could read the truth. Right. So that was the purpose of those searches, but I never searched for Mr. German's address. And yeah, I would think that if I
But there's photos showing you did.
had, you would see a landing page of some sort that actually showed it. I searched for his address. So when I saw these supposed searches where I supposedly looked for his car, you got to have a man's address when you're putting it into, at least from what they showed, that supposedly they found the car by way of his address. I didn't know his address.
Yeah, but you did a search to find his address, though, Robert.
So, and again, and I think if you would have seen some landing page showing that I knew it, I didn't know his address. Never been to his house. Didn't do a Google Maps search of him. And when it came to these photos that are supposedly surveillance, I don't know why anyone would do that. Sit there and take 100 photos of different cars. I don't even understand what.
And Robert's argument is that he didn't know Mr. German's address, so he couldn't have searched it. Then why are you searching it on your computer? You just happen to randomly be searching your victim's address, but you didn't know it was his address? Because we have the proof that you were searching by his address. Oh my God.
Purpose of that is, it's my understanding that surveillance means you go tail a person, not sit there and snap.
I know, because you're an idiot. You're not an actual surveillant. You're not law enforcement. But you did sit there and take pictures of all the cars coming to the stoplight that are on your phone, Robert.
Off a bunch of pictures. And then there were these other items that the state had introduced, photos of articles.
Not FBI said, didn't he work in the same building where he could access his personal info? It's worse than that, not FBI. We have photos on his phone of his computer desk in his office with the search results of the personal information for his victim based on his address. And his excuse is, well, I didn't know his address, so I couldn't have done that search. Robert, the FBI guys didn't set you up.
Like screenshots of articles, screenshots of the, was it Facebook messages, like a discussion that I had with John Cahill. And those are items that I was actually collecting for a lawsuit.
Yes. He's
And
an,
I don't.
he's an idiot.
Did you all bring a copy of that lawsuit? The lawsuit draft? Rick, may I? So I had been writing a draft of a lawsuit, and as I said earlier, this is the way that I wanted to handle this issue. If we may take a look at it, so I can.
You know. And when it's not sped up like this, I'm not muting it. This is muted by the court for some reason. Paint box students 8507, $4.99 in pounds. Interesting. Kiss your finger and carry on pointing out BS. I'm catching up. Surely you're going to put on a bald cap for this guy. But no, because I don't need to testify for this guy. Everything he says is on camera. They did search Amazon for a bald wig last night.
I couldn't sue my employees because that would just look bad. But I felt that after I lost the election, they were fair game. Because my original thought was that, if I won or if I tried to sue them in advance of the election, that people would say, he's just trying to shut up people. Right.
Well, that's what they said during the election and after it as well.
I got advice to that extent. And so I took it. I said, okay, well, I'm from an attorney. I'm like, all right, well, I won't sue them now. And my hope is that I was going to win. And
you placed third. You placed third.
So I lost this.
You placed third. It wasn't very close. You placed third in a primary. It wasn't even an election. It was a primary, and you lost. You bald-headed, shaped, head idiot.
So you know what? Fair game.
Sorry. Didn't mean to be so aggressive with that.
I'm going to sue them.
Outstanding. You got some Chloe.
Oh, I am so sorry, sir. Okay. And so again, this is a draft of a lawsuit. It's an unfinished lawsuit that I had started drafting, and
what does it matter?
It was going to be on behalf of myself as my own attorney, as part of the law firm that I had.
And what does it matter?
Law. And I would like to ask that this be admitted.
That's the other thing. I could never have these eyebrows as him. My eyebrows can't do that.
So,
yes, Robin, the ADR pro, didn't he have a history of being a horrid person when he was in college? I also saw that in the Jordan video. He assaulted underclassmen and then went around trying to find out who accused him. Like, he's a serial assaulter based on the evidence that's out there.
You can review that and see that, again, this is the reason that I had actually captured some of those pictures. Sorry, sir. Okay.
Oh. You convinced no one of anything here, Robert. What about the DNA on the victim and the DNA on yourself? Yeah, and he did attack his wife. That's on body cam. You just trying to take it out because I'm a public official. You're just trying to take me out because I'm a public official. You're just like a total narcissist. Like believing like, oh, people are against me because of my position in power. No, people just think you're a asshole that commits crimes. No one gives a shit.
Interesting about, this situation. And I guess, I had done my own research on cases. And
okay.
I had found that there were actually cases where even DNA evidence had been planted.
Robert has found evidence of cases where DNA was planted. Okay. Go.
There was a case where Apparently, it was an officer-involved shooting,
Okay.
and the police were pretty sure they had their people.
Okay.
Objection, relevance.
Thank you. Totally not relevant, but he's looking at the jury being like, you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
The objection is sustained.
Well,
Look at this lawyer's being like, you idiot. Of course that would never work. I love the lawyer on the left. I mean, because I love him I love him particularly because later when the evidence that exposes that like the true gotcha Perry Mason moment, right? When he sees it after the prosecution hands it to him, he looks at it, he just kind of smiles. He has this face of being like, you idiot. Like that's the look on his face, which we will see in part 2 tomorrow night. But I love that because this guy is legit. He's not corrupt or anything. He's just looking at him being like, you are an idiot. But that look when he sees that evidence that is presented right before the prosecution cross ends, what?
that's my theory, but I guess we'll have to save that for later.
We're always saving everything for later. All right, what did your grease pencil say now?
You know, that day,
You know, well,
September 2nd of 2022,
mm-hmm.
as I mentioned earlier, I sent that text message, hung around home. I know watching TV or working. Somewhere probably around 10-ish, I went for a walk. Came back home.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Well, we'll see from the text messages later that that's not exactly true, is it, Robert?
Got ready and went off to the gym. And if I could republish T2. Sir, if you could please turn to the appropriate page. And as I said before, I'm techie, right? You see that my actual login, you know, after you consider everything I do, you know, to get ready to go to the gym, when they were ready to scan my phone, it was at 12:09.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it was my phone because I'm a techie person. The tag that was on my keychain, I abandoned it long ago. You know, so that was from my phone.
Okay.
May I next publish?
So, therefore, his phone couldn't have been at home because he scanned in with his phone to the gym. So his phone wasn't at home. And he abandoned his keychain long ago. Facts. No, it's just you explaining something away without evidence.
Republish. I believe it's...
No, it's not just he's taking and goes to the gym. He's trying to say, I don't have my wand that I signed to the gym with. I had to sign in with my phone. Therefore, I had to have my phone with me. Therefore, my phone could not have been at home, not doing anything for 5 to 6 hours. But then again, you would see activity on the phone, wouldn't you, Robert? Idiots.
States Exhibit 374 regarding text messages I received that day. Would you, if you don't mind,
absolutely, Pinky.
If you could publish it, please.
I think a lot of lawyers have integrity about it. I see this more often than not with these narcissist defendants, unlike James Owens, who's just an idiot. But PAJ says, I have respect for these lawyers because they at least refuse to stand up in court and just blatantly lie. I mean, they had some integrity about themselves. Yeah, they do. And you can see it on their faces. They're disgusted with them.
If you don't mind, we can just go through it briefly. My apologies. If you could go ahead and turn to the next page, please.
It's 374.
So
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. If somebody comes at me, but if somebody approaches me, they're an accountant, I'm an accountant, right? And they tell me how program money works at my own company. I'm gonna be like, no, this is how it works, right? And if they try and say, yeah, well, no, it's this and this and this, I'm gonna be like, you're an idiot. That's never going to be allowed in court.
if you could turn the page, please. Okay, if you could turn the page, please. You turn the page, please. If you could again turn the page, please.
Okay, are we getting to a point here, Robert?
Now you see again that conversation I had with my daughter. Had my phone, responded, no problem. At 9 o'clock, still had my phone when I got an email from Jimmy John's. You could turn the page, please.
Scarlett says I couldn't be an accountant. I can't math to save my life, but that's the only thing. I can only math to save my life. But you'd be surprised at how even with math, that's why I went into it, because I cannot have an argument where it's subjective conclusion, right? It's an objective outcome. This is the math, and how often people argue with it. It's crazy.
Still had my phone when I got this message from, if you bring it down a little bit, or the other direction, please, from Cora. And when I got this text message from the spam, talking about how they wanted to sell my home, I didn't respond to that. If you could please, when I got the message from Macy's, I didn't respond to that. And again, still had my phone. When I got this, if you could go to the next page, please. This is, so we had recently changed our, at the office, the way that, or vendor for the answering service. And with that, I asked that they create a system or implement a system where we're automatically texted for these things.
What does this have to do with the evidence against you, Robert? Once again, reminder, 6:15 Pacific, Sunday night, American time. We're going to be doing the cross-examination where he just gets totally annihilated. So hopefully all of you tune in to enjoy that. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're here now. Subscribe if you're not. And yeah.
Again, no response required. This is something that was assigned to Rita. It was just provided to me for my records. So nothing to respond to. Again, another email, no response needed. Just junk mail. Sir, please. Again, another message from the answering service. Then at 10:36, I got a message from my wife with a picture of my daughter.
Marguerite.
And then if you can go up, my wife called about 10:43. I'd been out for a walk. I was just about to come in anyway, so I didn't respond. You'll notice that she did not call me again. She did not text me again. That's because I said, honey, I'm home. So can we go to the next page?
All right.
Again, another junk mail. Then a phone call from Reputation Defender, junk. I don't feel the need to pick up the phone from everybody who's calling. And then another email, again, automated email. If you could change the page, please.
Oh, the E is silent? Okay.
And calendar invitation, junk mail, calendar invitation, calendar invitation. And you'll notice by this time it's already 12:53 when we're at number 32. So I already have myself at the gym, right? So it's not like, I've got to answer any of these things, right? And then I was done at the gym. I want to say I typically take about an hour there. And so
Got to get his pomp on.
it was, I don't know why I would have missed this call if I was in the shower or whatever. This would have been from the vendor for my daughter's diabetes supplies. So they left a message. And if you scroll down, it looks like they left a message about a sensor for my daughter. If I could turn the page. And if you could go up. So here again, like I said, you should have no doubts about the fact that I had my phone on me. Whatever anybody tries to argue. Because again, I clearly had it, went from the check-in, I say I had it all day. They may try to argue otherwise, but.
No, they did argue otherwise. Did not try to argue. They did.
So when we continue on again, there's that message. Then my ex-wife sends me a message at 1:26, and I don't immediately respond to it. And I don't feel the need to respond to every single text message immediately.
Wow.
I don't know,
Unfortunately, we're going to see another issue tomorrow, Robert?
I'm personally that way. If I don't find a sense of urgency in it, I believe it can wait a bit. Sometimes I won't respond to, even if it's a person who's sending me a text message, I won't respond to the next day. It's just whatever mood I'm in.
Oh, okay.
So I personally don't think that there's anything suspicious about my phone use here.
Okay, good. Well, we can believe Robert.
Very much. So I went to the gym, like I said, at about 12 and got checked in about 12:09. Did my workout. Went home. Picked up kids later. And, I can't imagine the kind of person that would.
I love this last stumble through. By the way, what we're going to do at the end is just do the quick 10-second hear me out bumper again. And then we're going to listen to the crying as the outro.
Sustained.
So I personally can't
If you like the crying, stick around for the outro.
imagine myself to be the kind of person.
Sustained.
Sustained. It's your own opinion. Sustained.
I am not the kind of person who would stab someone.
The objection is sustained.
Okay. So I've never
Whatever.
beat anybody up.
Okay, that's
I've
valid
never
testimony.
killed anybody.
Okay, there you go.
I didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
Strong finish.
And that's my testimony.
All right, strong finish. So tomorrow night we have the cross-examination, which is super. It is so good. It might even be better than Camila versus Amber Heard, but it is so good. So we're going to do the little hear me out intro jingle as an outro, and then we're going to watch the crying. Please remember to hit like and subscribe. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we will see you tomorrow night, 6:15 Pacific, with probably Suma and next Eric. All right? Delete your archive. Kiss your finger. Hard eyes. Kiss your face. Rose.
Day 2.
So This is what I walked into in my house starting.
This is A2, A1.
I know the similar looking photo.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you done with this photo?
Yes, sir.
This is B2.
Coincidentally, I was led to believe that they were not going to make a mess of my house.
This is C2. This is D2. This is E2. This is F2. This is G2. This is H2. This is I2. And this is J2.
So I found my wife sitting on the floor in our bedroom in the middle of this mess. And so this for me was, you know, the thing that just broke me. I'm sorry.